How is it going, everybody? We're going to get started in just a little bit. Just have to wait for a couple people. And then we'll kind of get started on today's episode of The Charge. Of course, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And before we do get started, again, we're just going to wait for the people to come on. But I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday afternoon. I know there's a bunch of football. I think there's going to be some baseball games on tonight. So, relax, sit back, kick back, and enjoy the award show as we get a little bit closer to the NBA season, which I believe starts on Tuesday. So be prepared for a nice NBA start on Tuesday. Alrighty. Why don't we do this? Why don't we start off with a little bit of stories before we get started on today's episode of The Charge? So as we kind of wait for more of our guests to arrive, I kind of want to share with you guys a couple of interesting stories going forward. Not the stories that both Brad, Pete, and I are going to talk about a little bit earlier. Excuse me, I should say a little bit later down the line. But I want to talk a little bit more about these other stories that are coming out recently, and that's of course with the TV rights deal. So let's go into that story really quick, and let me move over to the next scene so you guys can kind of see what we're talking about here. And it is this one. It says the NBA receiving interest from streaming companies in the next media rights negotiations. So if you guys know, currently, as we know, TNT and ESPN are the biggest proponents of the network deals that they have right now. Obviously, with the NBA, you of course have the NBA League Pass, which I know a lot of people watch, including myself, at a cheaper price. I think it's actual steal. And I think if you bought the Michael Jordan edition of NBA 2K, you also got a year's worth of NBA subscription. But here is what the NBA is receiving interest from, and that is they are seeking upwards of $75 billion for the next media right package that will start in the 25-26 season. Under the current deal that runs through the 24-25 season, ESPN and TNT are paying a combined $24 billion or $2.6 billion annually. ESPN and TNT are now playing defense against streaming giants such as Amazon and Apple. I would say that of all the leading technology companies that are interested in the NBA, Amazon is one of them. I think Apple, I think Google, all of them, said Josh Cosner, former ESPN and NBA executive turned media advisor and founder of Cosner Media. And keep in mind, the definition of what a rights package going forward doesn't have to be what we grew up with, he added. A company like Discord, obviously, which we both Brad, Pete, and I talk on to you guys on the Discord app, could be part of the NBA rights holder at some point too, which would actually be very interesting to kind of talk about. And let me finish the story talking about here. Keep in mind that the NBA could put together a linear TV deal with ESPN TNT while also selling an executive streaming package. The NBA has already had 1.5 billion per year streaming deal with Tencent Holdings in China. The NFL is securing a long 100 billion plus media right payday last season. The NBA hopes to match it or come something close. Now, when we think about the media rights deal that we're seeing right now across all sites, across the NFL, Premier League, whatever sports you can think of, these companies are trying to accrue more and more money. More and more money means that teams like the Golden State Warriors can continue their dynasty. And I think it just kind of leads to a very interesting conversation for the NBA and really just sports in general, because ever since I can remember when I was little watching sports, I always hear about these TV deals and they continuously go up. They go up in a linear progression. My worry at some point for sports will be, when will it start to plateau? Because again, we all know that everybody loves sports. I mean, we even saw the Mariners baseball team last night. If you guys watched the 18 inning game, it accrued so many people, not only just watching the game in the stands, but also people watching just TV in general, TBS Sports and all that. Sports will always continue to grow and grow, and I understand that that's kind of where sports are at, but I'm worried that at some point it will stagnate. Just because I think that, there's eventually going to be situations and times where, hey, maybe sports aren't as important as what's going on somewhere else. But for the meantime, I do like the fact that the NBA is trying to venture off into not just being so linear with spaces like TNT and ESPN, but actually moving forward towards actually doing things like, I should say, like Discord. I think would be an awesome situation to watch. I mean, you could watch it while you're listening to the NBA games and, chatting with people from around the world about the NBA game in general, being included into channels where, maybe it's like Lakers Pistons and you're commentating on each thing. And so I think it's going to be an awesome thing to see for the NBA. And I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comment section down below as we kind of see the NBA continue to grow and expand the way that I think it should in the near future. I think that this is going to be a fun thing for the NBA to find out, the streaming rights deal. Fubo TV is also a huge factor now. I think all these streaming sites are starting to become huge players in the game. The question now I have becomes, for also as well for fans too, is that, there's so many streaming sites that people already use. You got your Hulu's, your Netflix, your Disney Plus. I mean, at some point, when is it just going to be basically you're paying for cable, but just through all like 500 different websites? That's going to be the interesting conversation to kind of have moving forward with this stuff, is that, I kind of like the idea of NBA League Pass. It's awesome. I love it. And I love just basically just paying the $120, $140 it is to just watch any game I want, anytime I want, except if it's one of the local teams, which I think the Blazers are the local team here in Seattle until we get a team here in Seattle. But I think it's going to be very interesting. I think that, a lot of these, Apple, I think, is going to make a huge push. I think they want to continue their Apple TV Plus. And what better way to do it than by getting some exclusive rights to some NBA content, some sports content? Because really, I think that's what the most interesting thing is right now in terms of live stuff. Like, no one really cares about TV shows being live. No one really cares about news being live. The only thing that people really care about and really want to pay for when it comes to live stuff is sports, because sports, obviously, you have to watch it live to know the result. It's not like TV where you can kind of watch it at any time and it won't spoil anything. And so I think it's going to be a very interesting situation to kind of continue to monitor for the NBA. How do they deal with this whole situation with the NBA rights? And, I think that they want to get the same NFL bag, Premier League bag, whatever bag that they're trying to get, I think they will secure. They just better make sure that they are getting upwards to that $100 billion that the NFL has gotten to. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of this whole story? I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below.
Bernie, have you used the new NBA League Pass app?
Oh, what's up, B? No,
I just thought I'd slide in. Just like, well, I'll just ask you a question. Why not?
Yeah. I've used it maybe like once or twice, but I used it on my Apple TV.
Okay. I'm curious to see. I hope it's better.
It's kind of a headache.
It's worse.
It's a headache.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
It's worse. You can't.
I thought
get
that
rid
one
of
last year sucked.
Yeah, last year was terrible, but this year, like, it looks better, like I think they worked on the design a lot, but the actual interface is not good. I can't turn off captions, so I just have giant captions taking up where the score should be.
Oh, that's miserable. What do you watch? Oh, like on your phone
Yeah,
or on what?
not just on my TV on my Fire Stick. I use the League
Oh,
Pass app.
geez.
Yeah.
Dude, let me give you a little. This is Pete's conspiracy corner of the week. Okay, I have a Roku, which is basically the same thing as the Fire Stick. I'm telling you, they
Mhm.
put zero effort into the apps that go onto those things. Like
Yeah.
because what you probably have like the HD Fire Stick, or whatever, like $45 or something like that. That's like the Roku
Yeah.
Premier or whatever. I'm telling you, we get like the bottom barrel versions of every app that exists. It's the worst.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
happens.
I've seen a bunch of people complaining about it on Twitter, and they said they acknowledge the problem and are like trying to fix it. So hopefully they fix it before the season starts.
I'm calling Adam
No.
Silver.
I mean, luckily, the first two games, it's not too much to worry about since those are going to be national games. But you are right. I think when it comes to like the regular season, when we start having a ton more games during the week, it's going to be more imperative for the NBA to fix that. And I think they will. I still have some gripes with the NBA app. Not to go off tangent from our topics, but I think that another thing too, I would love for it to do, and I think I'm trying to think which website does it the best. Like I don't know if people watch WWE, but when you look at their WWE network before they, joined Peacock, what I loved about them is that you could categorize it by years, right? So like if I want to watch like games from like the 2002 like Lakers, I can find it in the 2002 category. I think the NBA app needs to add that part of it because I think a lot of us that watch or that are coaches or people that love the game so much that they'll watch past games just to kind of see how it played out. I would love for that to be a feature added to the NBA app is decades. Like do the 2000s, the 90s, so you can watch all those great games. Like
yeah, and like custom playlists.
mm-hmm.
I would like that too. Like you could put together like little feeds of certain players, big games. I would use that
See,
all the
now
time.
we're talking. That's a good app. Yeah, I can't believe they haven't like thought of that. If we can think of that,
Yeah.
That'd be so sick. I mean, just being able to like categorize and even like it'd be nice if you could look like to me, there's no reason you couldn't have it where there's some database of like you want to look up like a certain stat line and you can find a game that has that stat line from that player and then it just auto plays that game or like it gives you like a link directly to
like
play the
30
game.
point performances or something like that, and then just kind of
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it just creates like custom like that's like one of the things on YouTube I really like has gotten a lot better is the mixes. I don't know if you guys ever use that where it'll say like start a mix of this thing, like something like that. I like a little bit more customizability with my NBA, and there's so much history. Bernie, I like your idea with WWE Network. I haven't used that in a long time. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but I would love an NBA version of that app. Even the way that app was like 10 years ago, Bernie, that app was so good when it first came out. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was like the $20 a month, I mean,
I'd pay for
for especially for a product that you're paying what 140 something bucks, I think it's like $20 a month for the premium. Like I want some premium NBA content with that. Not saying that I want like, new shows. Like I don't want a show with like, random hosts from like NBA TV. I can watch that anytime and I usually don't even watch it anyway. But I would love for it to be like, okay, you can get your, for example, like for the WWE Network, they used to like they categorize it by like NBA, well, I would love for it to be like NBA Finals, but also kind of like, what is it like Royal Rumbles, WrestleManias, like all that stuff just categorized. Like I would love they're like Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference first round, like just stuff like that. So it's a little bit more intuitive. It's a little bit more extra stuff. I mean, again, I love the idea of paying, the money that I do to get all the games I want, the future games, the games coming up. But I would love to also look at the past stuff as well. But that's wishful thinking. Wishful thinking.
Someday. If they're getting $75 billion for their next media rights, I think we're gonna have some better apps coming out. And realistically, as much as we want these nice specific little features, it would be nice if people in Denver could watch their own team and things like that,
Yeah, seriously.
Without the
I get these places like It's not even like Denver. I read some article last year that said I think they got like 20% of their own team's games in Denver would be like available without extra
Oh,
payments.
gotcha.
Like crazy stuff, man. It's like impossible to watch the Nuggets in Denver. And really for us too. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's why I have to buy League Pass. We don't really get hardly any games around here. We get the Trailblazers games, but they're usually not that great. So
No, they haven't been
Yeah.
great for a
what are you
while.
gonna do?
But
They're going
with
to stay that way too.
yeah, with that
Yeah.
being said, let's get back on topic. Let's get back on hand because today is going to be a pretty busy day. Of course, we got a couple of stories to talk about, and of course, finishing up our predictions, talking about really the all NBA teams, the awards, and then I think finally we'll talk about the NBA champion. I think we did a little bit of that in our power rankings, but I just kind of want to finish it by saying at the end of all this, who is going to be the NBA champion of the NBA for the 2022-2023 season. So with that being said, let's talk about our first story of the day. And I think we're going to talk about the Warriors first and save the awards for a little bit later. Let's talk about the 2 contract extensions that just happened over the weekend. The press conference that Draymond Green had obviously played a big factor into this. I don't want to continuously bring him up, but I think it is something to bring up when we talk about the 2 guys that did re-sign, and that was, of course, Jordan Poole re-signing for 4 years, $140 million, and of course, Andrew Wiggins, 4 years, $109, taking a little bit less money than I think a lot of people expected him to. Why don't I start with you guys first? I think, Brad, you can start us off with this whole thing. Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, contract extension. Draymond Green left high and dry in the dust. Is this Draymond Green's final year? I know he has a player option. I'm thinking that he might decline it. What is your gut feeling about this whole situation right now with the 2 guys signing their contract extension?
Well, yeah, this could go one of 2 ways. I mean, the way I see it is, I mean, a bunch of people think this means Draymond's on his way out. I saw people on Twitter saying, like, this is their last dance and whatnot, comparing it to MJ and Pippen. It's just hilarious. But I think the Warriors know that Draymond is their heart and soul, like kind of like the Marcus Smart for the Celtics. Like you've seen Marcus Smart in trade talks for years. You've seen his name, but they've never moved him because they know if we move Marcus, this team might fall apart. Like we might not have the same, like, results because he gets them to win. So I think it's the same with Draymond. And I think that he honestly might take a pay cut. And back to Pete's conspiracy theory, maybe they did release the video on purpose because they knew this would happen. Because Wiggins taking a pay cut indicates that they're trying to fit in Draymond, if you ask me. Like, I know they paid both Poole and Wiggins, but why would Wiggins take a pay cut? Like, I know they're thinking about paying the young guys in the future, but I know they're also thinking about Draymond. So I think, at least for me, I think Draymond stays, and I think he just takes a pay cut. I can't really see him playing for another team. I know he loves the Warriors. He has great chemistry with Steph, Clay, and he knows their system. I just don't see him leaving.
Well, first off, Brad, I appreciate your call back to my conspiracy because I do feel like this does go towards that. Getting these extensions out there this quick, it means the Golden State Warriors were already, well on their way to getting this stuff done. And that Draymond situation, whatever it was, whoever released it, these conversations didn't start after that. They were right. They were going on, So the only thing that I would maybe counter a little bit, and this isn't saying I think Draymond's gone for sure, but I do think that this is kind of the Warriors putting the onus on Draymond. Like now these dudes are paid. It's not on them anymore, right? It's on you, Draymond, to show us you can mature and, kind of regain your status with this team. Show us you could be a leader, right? If you can earn this, next contract, we have the space now to probably get you what you want. But we're not going to give it to you right now because of all the stuff that just happened. I mean, I think it's that simple, realistically. Like we don't need to rush into giving you this big extension. And honestly, I'm still of the opinion they're not going to pay him. They're not going to give him a max contract. I don't think Joe Lacob, I don't think he's that type of guy, man. I really don't. I think he wants to win and continue to be like the Golden State Warriors dynasty. And if they're making smart decisions, which, I don't like the Warriors, but time and time again, the Warriors make smart decisions. They usually make the right choice. They're kind of like, of this decade, I would compare them to like the Patriots. Like they make the right moves at the right times and they know when to get off dudes and move guys and so on and so forth. And this is their first opportunity to do it with one of their big three, the core of this team that's built the Warriors, brand name. But they still don't want to ship him too soon. Like, that's why I there's no way they trade him like in the middle of the season. It's not happening. It's not. They wouldn't do that.
No way. Yeah,
as
not
far
a
as
chance.
winning the championship this season is concerned. That's just a waste of whatever potential they have this year, because they're not going to be able to regain anything in terms of the value he brings them in the locker room when he's not punching people in the face, and just the defense. The defense and running the team on the court is, whatever you think of Draymond, that is by far the thing he is the best at in the NBA, in my opinion. He's kind of like a LeBron light in the sense that he is constantly dictating where his team goes, what they need to do, and when they need to do it. Yeah, they won't jeopardize that this season, but I don't think they're going to say, hey, we need to pay you. We're not. I don't think they're that type of team. But this will be interesting to see what it is, though, because then it'll give us a better idea of Clay. It'll give us a better idea of Steph. I mean, Steph is one of those ones that's just, it doesn't matter what happens with Steph.
He's untouchable.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens with him. Even if he falls off a cliff, which he won't, that will not happen to Steph Curry. I mean, he could probably play effectively until he's 50 with the way he shoots. But
yeah,
Draymond, it's on him now. I like that for this team. Put it on him. Make him prove it.
Yeah. I think
you're probably going to get the best season out of him anyway.
I think all good things come to an end. And I think, like Brad said, this to me, I think a lot of people, we get lazy sometimes and we compare things to things that probably aren't even in the same atmosphere. And I think that that's what this is right here when it comes to The Last Dance. When we talk about this Warriors team, I think for me, I think Draymond is definitely gone. I think that the punch kind of sealed the deal because, again, I think the Warriors, to me, and to kind of go a little piggyback off your conspiracy theory, Pete, I think that the Warriors are trying to find any excuse in any way to not pay this guy.
Yep.
Because I think when we think about it from, the years leading up to even just the practice where he did punch somebody, the Warriors were always kind of like, especially Jacob Layman. I think he's the owner, and I can't remember the Bob Myers and Jacob Layman. Yeah, whoever those two are. Both of those guys kind of said before, I think the owner does not want to pay over the luxury tax for forever, right? He has a limit to how much he wants to pay for that luxury tax, and I think he's really at his limit right now. And again, yes, you signed Jordan Poole. Yes, you signed Andrew Wiggins, but I think Draymond Green, and unfortunately, I think Klay Thompson too, when his contract situation is up as well, I don't think they're not gonna re-sign him either, because I think they want to go into their next phase already. I think that the Warriors are, again, and it doesn't mean that they're necessarily giving up years of championship opportunities, but I think they're ready to move on to their next project, which is Operation Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, and start moving into those guys and saying, okay, we think that these guys could potentially be the next Warriors 2.0 or the next evolution of the Warriors. And I look at this team, and again, you guys are right. Like, Draymond Green is the heart and soul of this Warriors team. But just like any empire in human history, all things come to an end. And I just think that the empire of the Golden State Warriors, ruled by Green, ruled by Klay Thompson, ruled by even Steph Curry for that matter, I think it's done. And I think they are now trying to move into these new young guys, try to take advantage of the fact that, you have Kuminga, you have Moody, you have Poole,
Wiseman.
Wiseman, all on rookie deals or cheap deals right now, and try to see like, okay, what do we have with this team? And then they can kind of rearrange the pieces here and there. Because I don't think that right now the Golden State Warriors, again, they could potentially go all the way to the NBA Finals this year. But as soon as next year hits, I think that they're going to be taking a step back and reassessing their assets and saying, hey, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, you guys have been great to us, but it's time to go. And I really think that's going to happen.
Wow.
That's where I disagree with
Draymond
you.
and Klay?
I think the move for this squad is getting rid of those guys. Like, if they want to stay competitive, Like, I'm sorry, whatever you think of Draymond, I love Draymond as a basketball player. I've always defended him, even when he's his most annoying human being. The way he controls the pace of a basketball game with the weird skill set he has
Mhm.
is basically one of one in the NBA. He's like, there's not really anybody like Draymond. But the thing that is understated about Draymond, and this is why I even came up with the conspiracy theory in the first place from my own perspective, is like he his athleticism is just not there anymore. Like, I know
Mhm.
he turned it around in the finals and they ended up winning. But by all accounts, Steve Kerr made the absolute best decision possible in benching him early in the series, right? It motivated him enough to come back and prove that he still had something left.
Mhm.
But Draymond was like, he's just not the same guy anymore. So if you're giving him a max, I think that that is the death sentence as far as like your dynasty is truly over until you can get off of this contract, because you can't be competitive with a max Draymond 6 points a game, but not giving you all the things he used to give you. You can't be a competitive team with a contract like that
Mhm.
nowadays. So realistically, that's why, like, I think the Patriots. I know I brought them up again. I think this is the best example. What have they done time and time again? And I know this is a basketball channel, but they always ship their big talent off right before they hit their peak, or right before they fall off the cliff, I should
Mhm.
say. And that is why they're always pretty competitive. Like, they're never stuck with guys that are just shells of themselves. They move off
Yeah.
of them and reinvest in new young guys. And that's the thing, man. I think something that is wildly underappreciated about this Warriors team is how good their young guys are. I can't believe I hear these Warriors fans talking about giving Draymond the max as if they should do it. You have go. I was so down on Kuminga before the draft, but if you
Mhm.
watch them last season, he's the exact guy you need now. That's the replacement. He's an uber athletic freak. He can do anything on the court, like athletically, but also he can play defense, rebound, everything. Get him on the court, let him play. Moses Moody was good in the playoffs. He was legitimately good in his rookie season in the playoffs. Get that guy minutes, man. Jordan Poole, Wiggins, Wiseman has looked good in the preseason. They're so loaded they could go make a huge trade too. So that's not even counting Draymond as a trade piece. Whatever you think he's worth as a trade piece doesn't even matter. They could replace him with the snap of their fingers with all the stuff they have. So I think the Warriors are in a great spot as far as now.
Mhm.
I know I keep saying it, but it's on Draymond to prove it. And if he wants to stay, he's got to be really good again and be a very impactful team player and motivate the rest of his guys rather than, obliterate the rest
Punching
of
him in
his
the
guys.
faces.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I like it. I think they're in a good spot. If I'm the Warriors fan, the only thing that would bum me out is giving Draymond a max contract. Genuinely, I think that'd be the only thing that would bum me out.
But what if Draymond is willing to take less though? Like the same way
If
Wig
he's
take
if
But
he's
less.
willing to take
how much
less,
is less?
perfect.
How much is
That's
less
the
though?
problem,
Ah,
buddy. That's the problem. Now, I don't think he's
ah,
the type of guy that's going to take that big of a pay cut, no matter
No,
if
I think he wants
it's
his
in his
bread.
best interest. He'll get it too.
Yeah.
So
do you
there's
think he wants his bread over staying with the team and winning championships?
100%,
'Cause
100%.
another
100%.
factor here is Steph. Like you guys are saying, like get rid of Draymond and Clay and move on to the young guys. But is Steph going to be like
I
cool with
wouldn't get
that?
rid of
Like,
Clay. I don't agree with that. I'd keep Clay.
see,
I think
I actually
Clay.
think Clay is the most expendable because you can replace shooting
Ah,
and defense and then build chemistry. You can't replace the shot creation that Draymond has and the defense. He's their best defender by far.
yeah, but he won't be though. That's the problem. He really won't be. Like
Really? I mean,
he,
even last year, he was giving Jalen Brown trouble. Like he got
yeah, but
benched,
he
came
was.
back, and then locked up Jalen Brown.
I know, but that was like 2 games. He was so bad in the playoffs, Brad. I mean, he turned it around in the biggest moment. So I won't like get on his case too much. That's the thing. You can never do that with Draymond because at the end of the day, he comes through in the big moments in the finals, other than when he's
Hmm.
punching LeBron in the nuts, right? Like, he is going to give you something in these big moments, but I just I don't see what he is as a player if he is that athletically diminished. Like, I don't really understand what he gives you. They have vets that are like good team guys. And really, I think Steph is the guy. If you keep Steph and just let the team flow around him, it's all going to work out, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if there's any vet that is as impactful in terms of like keeping a locker room together as much as Steph is. I think a lot of teams would have imploded after the Draymond thing. But you have guys like Steph, Steve Kerr, they're going to hold it together. Those guys are the glue guys. They're the glue guys to me. Like, I want Steve Kerr, Steph Curry. Clay is, I don't disagree with you in the fact that he's expendable, because he is, but I would still rather keep him because I think he gives you more. I think he gives you more in his older age.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. Respectfully. I did.
Let me ask you this.
Hang on, one second. I just want to read the comments so we don't miss out on any, and then you can talk. So let's see here. Drunk, you said, send Draymond to the Shanghai Sharks with Wiseman. Come back, he got no rotation spot.
What?
Looney over Draymond is what Drunk is saying.
But Drunk, who's going to make plays for Steph and Clay if you... Like, I like the idea of Kuminga athletically and defensively, but he can't pass the ball the way Draymond can.
All right, Pete, go ahead.
I don't know, man. You look at the money of it all. That's all it comes down to me.
Yeah.
It's all it's going to come down to. Because, Bernie, I agree with you. I don't think Draymond is taking a big enough pay cut to make it worth it. What does Draymond really give you if he can't score? I mean, he is a 0 on offense at this point in his career.
He's never been able to score, though. That's not what they want him for. They want him for
but
the playmaking.
Who's he staying in front of in 2 years? Who in
2 years
on a max
that's
contract?
a good question.
Warriors need Draymond like I need the chicken pox.
You had the chicken pox before, Drunk? Because some might say you need them now if you're not supposed to get them when you're an old person.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think at the end of it all, I think the biggest thing, the Warriors, and again, the two things that usually downfall, whether it's a band, a group, is money and women. And the money thing is really going to affect the Warriors because, I mean, again, the owner doesn't want to pay over the luxury tax again and again. Like, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, again, I think that eventually, you can't be paying over and over and over again. I mean, unless like basketball is your life, and for these owners, it's not really. It's all about just kind of creating I would say like a passive income, if you will, just with all the money that you get from it and the notoriety and the clout.
Yeah.
I just think that I think the Jacob Layman, Jacob Layman's the owner, right? Or is it Bob Myers?
Yeah,
Joe Lacob.
Jacob Lacob.
Yeah, whatever. That dude.
Joe Lacob.
Yeah,
Joe
Mr.
Lacob.
Richie Rich.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to pay any more money, man. Like I think he's done. I think he's ready to close his checkbook.
Oh, I see. I disagree with that, Bernie. I think he just wants to. I think he wants to pay the right people. I think that's the difference. He wants to be the cock of the walk, my guy. He wants to be the guy that can go and brag to all the owners. That's Joe Lacob. Like, go read articles about Joe Lacob. That's why he owns a team. It's so he can be this braggadocious, rich tech billionaire in South California. Like, he doesn't want to be bad. I think more than anything, he doesn't want to be bad. He was trying to go get KD this offseason. Go look at all that stuff. He was the one trying to convince Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, we need KD. Let's get him back and win another couple titles, right?
So then, from saying that, Pete, do you think that Joe Lacob doesn't want Draymond Green anymore in terms of, like, they would have used, like, do they get rid of him? Like, you want to get rid of him a long time ago?
100%. I think if there was anybody in the building who has not only the power but also the motivation to get off of Draymond, it's Joe Lacob. He doesn't want to pay a max to a guy that scores 6 points a game and punches his teammates in the face. He doesn't want to do it. Because no matter what, this is the final thing I'll say for Draymond. His number one skill set up until this point that makes him so important to teams, specifically the Warriors, because he's only played there, right? It's that thing that people use to describe players like him and Pat Bev, where it's like, if he plays for you, you love him, but everyone else in the NBA hates him, right? He's the ultimate like hype dude for your squad and just pisses off everybody else. But if that is starting to change where now he's pissing off the guys in your own building and the chemistry is off and you have guys like Jordan Poole, I refuse to think that Jordan Poole is worse than Draymond at this point in their careers respectively. Like that's crazy. And I think Jordan Poole is a traffic cone on defense. He still gives you so much more than Draymond does, especially if that's how Draymond's going to act. I think Joe Lacob is the most motivated person to get off of Draymond on planet Earth. It's a hard thing to convince Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the fans of Golden State. That is hard to convince them. But what's better than having to convince them? We'll just let them convince themselves that we could get off this guy. That's Joe Lacob. I think he wants to be the San Antonio Spurs of the 21st century.
This is tough. I mean,
he's shown it. He keeps shelling out money.
Draymond, see that drunk? Draymond is worth PJ Tucker money. That statement is flawed in a lot of ways, but you're not that wrong. Like at this point in their career, they're not that far away from each other in what they provide. But the perspective on them because of the rings on their fingers is completely different, right? They're not that different. Would you justify paying PJ Tucker a max and saying, well, think of what he brings to you, the hard-nosed defense and, just being around. He doesn't have the playmaking Draymond has, so he's already not as good, but it's not that far off. I don't disagree with that. I think you guys are thinking of Draymond from 2018 and 2017 and saying that guy, but I would argue he's potentially collapsed two of their best runs in the middle of their runs. Getting KD as upset as he did and just having that awful season they did, I guarantee you Joe Lacob would have rather kept KD than Draymond. Guarantee you that. He could have. That's not even a question to me. So
that's definitely true.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And he went to go get him again. So
it's a tough thing, and that's why we're here on the internet arguing about it. Because I think it's a tough decision to make that I think a lot of people have to really, I think you really have to think about it, man. I mean, again, I think Klay, like you, Brad, I think that he's probably the most expendable piece because of the injuries. And I think the same questions that a lot of people have of Draymond are the same questions I have of Klay. Like, is he going to be able to, I mean, we saw in the playoffs, like his shooting wasn't as good as I think a lot of people remember it to be. I mean, I know that, Poole, obviously with the more athleticism, a little bit more ability to go score at the rim. I think that's kind of what the Warriors were kind of seeing. And you could clearly see that. I think Klay, as the season goes on, if I'm keeping it real, I think you could start seeing Klay Thompson maybe start to come off the bench. I think
you're nuts. You're nuts.
I think they'll start Klay just because Poole gives you a bigger punch. And Klay has the chemistry with Steph and Draymond. But I like you're not wrong.
I think you guys are underrating how long Klay was on ice. I mean, he literally jumped back in the middle of a season after 2 years of not playing. I mean, I don't think we saw Klay at his best. Even at this phase of his career, I don't think we saw Klay at his best last season. I really don't.
Agreed.
Was he
I
that much worse than Draymond?
I would say yes. He was
really.
I would say just because there was those games where he was just chucking up everything, like he wasn't the same efficient 3-point shooter that he was before the injury.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't stay in front of Ja Morant like a younger Klay would have been able to do. He had trouble staying in front of guards, although he did a good job on Jaylen Brown. I won't lie. He was locking up Jaylen Brown. But Jaylen Brown can't dribble, so it's not that hard to lock him up.
That's 100% true.
Well, he's got a right hand, no left hand though.
Does he have a right hand? He has like 3 fingers on a right hand. Or his dribbling is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, if we even look at like Klay Thompson is always going to be that guy, but it's just kind of, how much more does he have in him, right? I know he's 31, going to be 32, 33. I mean, Draymond Green's what, 31, 32 right now? I mean, they're both the same age. It's like,
I think give either of them maxes, to be straight up with you.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not paying both of those guys. I think it's like I said, it's time for the Warriors to start moving into their next phase of their generation. And I think that this is kind of the end of the Klay, Green, Curry. But I think Curry's going to be that bridge that is needed for a team trying to transition from going to the those three from the 2014 on, and they're going to need Curry to kind of be that bridge for the next generation, because I think at the end of the day, the Warriors will continue to play the same offense that they do no matter what players are involved. They might tweak a little bit of things here and there. Maybe, try to get Kuminga a little bit more action for a roll to the paint and things like that, because you just have to take advantage of the athleticism. But I still think they're going to try to set screens for Curry, still try to do a lot of different setups for Curry so he can get his open shots. And I just think that that's kind of where the Warriors are at right now. Is I think that they'll still have. I think the defensive schematics will change though, as they kind of move away from Draymond Green kind of being I would say he's kind of like the safety of that whole defense, because the fact that he kind of sits in the middle, he kind of absorbs the drives that come towards him, and then the other guys just kind of peel out and go find a new guy to cover. So I think
I don't know. If I'm Joe Lacob, I'm paying these dudes money. I'm putting my trust in the people who are going to age the best as far as setting us up for the next generation, and that's Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. Trust those dudes. Steph Curry is going to age like fine wine in the NBA. I think that's like a given if you watch how he plays. Like, there's not a time I don't think that he's going to be an effective player in the NBA, right? He's kind of like anti-LeBron in the sense that it's the same. It's not anti-LeBron, but it's the same thing, but very different formats of going to be like how they age into their late years. But trust Steph Curry, trust Steve Kerr, and move on. That's it, man. You have all these young dudes that are super talented. The most important part of the Warriors is the style of play and just that off-ball motion and getting open shots and looks. I love it, dude. I think they're set up for success. The worst thing they can do is panic and sign these dudes to crazy extensions and just be awful for 5 years. That would be the worst decision they could make.
Yeah.
But even then, I love that the Warriors are in this position, because either way, we either get good basketball or bad Warriors, which I'm fine either way.
Seriously, I'll take that.
Okay, let's answer Drunk's last question and kind of end this, and let's do this. If you were the coach of the Warriors, who'd be your starting five on that team? And then we'll move on to our next topic.
I'll go first. It would be Steph, Clay, who usually plays the 3. Draymond usually plays the 4, right?
Yeah.
Look up the roster real quick.
Probably go Steph, Clay. I like Moody a lot. I'd put Moody
Wiggins
in the starting lineup personally.
Moody over Clay, or
no? I would honestly, maybe this is showing my anti-Draymond a little bit. I wouldn't start Draymond even at the best thing you could do is at least save him for when it matters the most, even no matter what you think of him, right? I just don't think he should start every game for them this season.
Just say you want to start, what's his name? Dante DiVincenzo. Just say it, Pete.
Oh my God.
We all know you're thinking it.
No, I do like DiVincenzo on that team though. But I'd start Steph, Clay, Moody, Wiggins, Looney. That'd be my lineup. Moody or Kuminga, either way. Swap them out. Either one.
I'd go Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond.
Oh, and
Looney.
actually, I'd probably try and start Wiseman over Looney if I could. If it starts looking like he is actually going to take that preseason into the regular season, I'd probably move him into the starting lineup.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would go Curry. I'd go Thompson just for the experience, even though I would probably want to start Poole at some point. Then I'd go Wiggins. Then I'd go Draymond, and then I'd go Wiseman. I mean, again, my question mark for Wiseman has always been the injury. So if he can stay healthy, I think he'll be a really good player. But that has yet to be the case for Wiseman, and I hope he changes that narrative this year with some good basketball. I would love to see him be one of those guys that steps up.
He genuinely looked really good in preseason. I thought he was like, oh, wow, this is the guy that I wanted to take number 1 a few years ago. I liked Wiseman a lot that draft. So
yeah,
it was nice to see him actually start looking like that guy.
All righty. And let us know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of this whole story with Draymond, with the Warriors, what their next steps are. I'd love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below. And, let us know what you guys think of some of the questions that Drunk had. I think he had a really good one. Who would be your Warriors starting 5 if you were to pick the roster that they have right now? Let us know in the comments section down below. All right, boys. I'm going to use the restroom really quick. Drinking pre-workout was not the move. So why don't you guys take over for a little bit as I go excuse myself.
So
good luck out there in the streets, Bernie. What, Brad? What would you like to talk about? Do you have any ideas? Something we could
let's see. I watched the Timberwolves Nets game the other day, the preseason game, and I want to say I think the Timberwolves looked bad. Like they did not look good at all. Honestly, their defense was helter skelter.
Yeah, I really like their coach though. I like Chris Finch a lot. I've been so impressed with him since he came out of Toronto and took over for them midway through a couple seasons ago. I'm a big Chris Finch person. That goes to me being a big Nick Nurse person. I think Nick Nurse is the best coach in the NBA personally.
Okay.
I would be very happy to have somebody from that coaching tree and just that philosophy. I mean, I took the Timberwolves. I think I put them 2 in our power rankings or 3 in terms of like their regular season, not power rankings, but their seeding finishing at the end of the season. So
yeah,
they did look pretty rough though, Brad. I can't disagree with you.
Bro, I mean, yeah, it'll take time for sure, and they'll figure it out after a couple of games. But my thing with them is just like, okay, Cat is guarding on the perimeter a lot more now, and they're not communicating. So, like, they're not communicating switches. They're not communicating on rotations. I saw that little video of him running around. It went, like, semi-viral, him running around to chase out on a Royce O'Neal 3. And they're like, Cat looks lost. He can't play defense. But it wasn't just his fault. Like, Anthony Edwards didn't communicate a switch. No. So and they should have switched.
They're in a weird situation. I've always been super down on Cat. I've never been a big Cat person. Bernie and I have long debated Karl Anthony Towns many a time, and I think this season for them completely hinges on him. Like because he's always been a bad defender. Like that is something Bernie and I have always specifically argued about. Like he is an atrocious defender for his size, length, and athleticism. He is terrible. Him, if he can do anything on the perimeter as far as slowing people down, getting to Rudy Gobert, funneling people the right way, they're going to be nasty defensively. It's just all going to stem from, like, can he actually do anything? So I think it all comes down to him, and if he can listen and actually start communicating, because he never communicated even when he was their interior defender. Like, he just didn't do anything as far as
he was just watching,
leading the defense. So if Anthony Edwards, that's the biggest thing. They need Anthony Edwards to step up and be that vocal leader, and they need Cat to actually really take a step on defense and do something. But I have a lot
I'm lower. I'm so low on that team now after watching them. Like, I know it takes a while, but I think they're about to disappoint a lot of people. Honestly,
I do already think they're going to disappoint me a little bit.
Yeah, their offense doesn't look like, I mean, obviously not everyone can run that Warriors motion offense, but it's just like they don't have a pecking order. It's like we're feeding Rudy Gobert in the post. Ant needs his shots. D'Lo likes to get his shots. And then Cat is just here trying to be a 6'10" Ray Allen. He's just shooting everything, like not even back. Like he's not even trying to get in the post. I don't know. I didn't like what I saw.
If I could get D'Lo and Cat off of that team right now, if I was them, and get somebody else, some other versatile big man on that team, I would do it in a second. I would do it in an absolute second. Like if they could go get, this is such a downgrade from Cat, so don't think I'm saying these guys are equal. But like, go get like somebody like Mo Bamba, right? Just like some big, tall, versatile, like 3-point shooter who's way cheaper than Cat, and then replace him with like a big 3 or 4 who can actually play defense. I would like that a lot too.
I'd like that too, and a point guard who can actually play defense and is more efficient.
Just an actual point guard in general. Yeah, Anthony Edwards, spoiler, is one of my favorite people coming into the season. I think he's going to have a huge year, but they need a point guard. He's not a point guard.
Yeah.
Bernie, you ready to lead us? Actually, before Bernie, you take back over, did you guys watch the Redeem Team?
I did.
I did. It was great.
What'd you guys think?
That was really good. I mean, I think the Dream Team obviously was the best one out of like the two documentaries, but I like seeing like the side of Coach K that I've never seen before.
Yeah, I
I didn't
agree. I
realize
like Coach K.
I didn't realize he was such a swear guy. He's cussed like a sailor all the time. I didn't realize that.
I like that. I did not expect to come out of it thinking, "Oh wow, I kind of like Coach K now." I've never really liked him, and that was a kind of a changing of the changing of my attitude as far as that was concerned. Are you, Brad?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was like, super cool to see all those shots of Kobe that we haven't seen before, all those videos.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be a flat out liar if I told you I didn't get choked up a few times. I had to pause
for
it.
real. Yeah,
I had to pause it and walk away a couple times when Kobe and Gigi were on the screen. I just had to
seriously.
I can't.
Yeah.
I also totally forgot that Carlos Boozer was on that team. Why
did Carlos Boozer get the most interview time out of
everybody? He's probably the only guy that was available. The other guys probably said, I'm good."
I mean, they interviewed everybody, but there was like 15 clips of Carlos Boozer talking.
But Boozer's not really doing anything now. The other guys are doing something.
Well, the thing I did think was the most interesting, I thought it was pretty funny. That was executive produced by LeBron and Dwayne Wade, right? Like they paid for most of that to get done. I did find it very funny. Like if you go back and look at how bad that 2004 Olympic team, how bad that situation was, I found it really funny how much they blamed Larry Brown in the documentary and how much it wasn't their fault. And I'm the biggest LeBron guy there is, but I'm not trying to say, hey, you're changing history a little bit, but it was pretty funny. Like Larry Brown literally had just won a championship with the Pistons the year before that. Mm-hmm. And they acted like this dude was like an abysmal coach. Like he was such an idiot. And it's like, you guys were like 18 or 19. You guys weren't even trying to take it seriously. Like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. And then it was like a lot of them being interviewed. It was very favorable to old Bron and D Wade. Rightfully so. They paid for it.
As it should be. They paid for it.
Exactly. Yeah, they paid for it. All right, Bernie, take over.
Yeah, let's move on. This will also be included in the clip for all NBA teams. But we're here to talk about, you see every person here on this list. There's a ton of basketball players here. We are going to be doing here on the channel, guys, are all NBA teams. I think that this is going to be one of the most highly debated topics in the NBA. We know the implications of an all NBA team, the monies, the incentives, the accolades. This is where players are made, and this is what kind of shows you what players currently are going to be the guys moving forward for that's basically they are the top 15 NBA players. I know that when it comes to this award, there's the center position that's strictly center. But I think all three of us can agree that we'll change a little bit of it to kind of fit our narratives that we're trying to start here on the channel. And so I think the best way to start it is by looking at all these players. I think that I have 75 players here. Obviously, we're all going to either agree or disagree on somebody. But why don't we start with the all NBA third team? Why don't we start with just throw out one name that you guys would want to see on your NBA third team?
I think Anthony Edwards is third team this year.
Anthony Edwards, whoa! You really do love him, Pete.
I wanted to put him second team because I really thought my initial reaction to, or I guess my initial writing this down, I put the Timberwolves pretty high in my how well I thought they were going to perform in the regular season. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't help. I totally agree with you, Brad. You weren't here for it, Bernie, but we were talking about how messy and unorganized the old Timberwolves looked. So I do think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be a slow process in the first maybe 25 games for them getting it turned around. But I do think if they end up having a very good regular season, that will come as a result of Anthony Edwards taking the reins of the team and being the focal point of the offense, being the leader. And if he can do that, I think he should be on the third team, probably. I wanted to put second team, but like I said, I think it'll be slow at the beginning.
Yeah. Brad, who you have on this list for third?
Give me James Harden, the beard.
Beard. Brad, I love this pick, Brad.
Fear the Beard is back on here. He's in shape.
He's back. Oh, yeah.
Love that pick.
They're going to win a bunch of
I'd even
games.
consider putting him higher.
I wanted to put him on second. Actually, you know what?
I thought about it, Brad.
You know what? Let me switch that. Put Booker on third team. We'll put the Beard on second. Yeah,
okay, I'll put Booker here. Yeah,
I like that a lot. Can I tell you guys something? I didn't even put Booker on my teams.
I didn't want to, but he made first team last year, and like he has a lot of clout, and the narrative is there, and that's a lot of the voting. Honestly, I feel like.
All right, I'll give you my NBA third team guy. I think this is someone that I think a lot of people won't consider putting him on the list, but I'm gonna put Darius Garland on this NBA third team. I think
Bernie.
I think a lot of people are going to sleep on this guy because they obviously, if we look at the list last year, you have your regulars, you have your Bookers, you have your Stephs and all those guys. But I think Darius Garland as a point guard, he plays it the right way. Again, to me, like I talked about numerous amount of times, he is the more athletic version of Steve Nash. Like his ability to pass the ball, his ability to just dribble, get into spaces, and just create for his teammates. I think that just takes him above and beyond a lot of these other point guards that are currently, kind of, I would say, aging out. Like I would say, Chris Paul is one of those guys. Like I think Darius Garland is going to start to take his place as kind of one of the top point guards in the league. And I think that the Cavaliers will have the record to kind of show that Garland is going to be a top point guard. And I think that that's kind of what the all NBA teams are looking for, the people that vote on this stuff. And so I got Garland on the third team, man. I think he's going to be really good.
I have Garland on my third team as well.
Oh,
Garland and Anthony Edwards as my guards on third team.
All right.
My other guard on third team is actually Ja Morant.
Ja Morant, third team. That's gonna get a lot of people, especially of the Sean category, very upset.
Honestly, I was wondering, Bernie. I was wondering if Brad was even going to put Ja on any.
Honestly,
he was thinking about it. I could hear it in his eyes. I could hear it in his voice.
He'll be the whole engine for that team, though. So he'll put up numbers, and he has the clout. So I'll give it to him.
And he had that great play in the preseason.
One thing that goes in your favor, Brad. I know I bring this up every time we talk about Ja, but there is no guy that I get more worried of. Like this dude could just miss 30, 35, 40 games at any given time. Ja. He could just miss like a half of the season at any given time, and it would be not shocking to me. And I hope that's not true by all accounts. I'm not rooting for that. I just the way he plays, how fast and how high he jumps,
out of control.
Players like that get hurt, man. I always get scared with stuff like that. And if you're going to make all NBA, you got to play all your games or most of them.
I think he's going to get screwed by Dillon Brooks. I think Dillon Brooks is just going to shoot the crap out the ball, and I think
Dillon Brooks is going to get shipped out.
They're going to lose him some games. Who else you got on that list?
What's your problem with Dillon Brooks, Bernie?
You tell me you don't have a problem with Dillon Brooks and his shot selection?
He is a black hole. He does not pass.
He shoots the ball if he touches the ball.
He reminds me of oh man, I don't know if you'll get this one, Brad. We used to have someone on the C team. I think when we were like either sophomores or juniors, and his nickname was Black Hole because he would just shoot it every time he got it. I don't know if you remember that kid.
I don't remember.
It's kind of like
it's funny though.
He's kind of like a almost forward body size Dion Waiters. Like he's just gonna shoot the ball if he's got the
pretty
ball,
much. Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
He's less confident looking Dion Waiters.
All right, let me give you someone else on my third team. I'm gonna go with, where is he? I don't even see him on this list right now. That's not a good sign. He's somewhere here. He's somewhere here.
Looks like he's not making third team.
You know what? I'm gonna put Jimmy Butler on the third team.
Jimmy Butler. Whoa.
I think again. I think we both all. I think at least me and Pete. I think we're in agreement with the Heat, and taking a step down this year. And I think that it's not going to be Jimmy Butler's fault, but I just think the pieces around him aren't as strong as they were last year or even the year before that. And so I think Jimmy Butler is still going to get on the third team. The stats are still going to be there for Jimmy, but at the end of the day, he's going to get shafted because of his team, and so that's why I have to put him on the third team.
I have. My first forward, I have Kevin Durant in third team this season.
Kevin Durant, third team. You're absolutely crazy, man. You're crazy.
Nah, dude, I think the Nets are not going to be good this season. I mean, he'll be good. It's Kevin Durant. He's going to be good. But I think the Nets I just don't see it, man. I just don't. I think they have a lot of talent. but I don't think the coaching is good enough to fix the issues they have. I think you need a legitimately creative, good schematically sound coach to work with what they have. And I don't think Steve Nash is that, even though I don't think he's the root of all their problems. But I just don't see a really great season coming for them. Like I find it absolutely astounding that people think they're going to win 50 games. I think that's beyond logic to me, based on what's going on with the team. You have no idea when these dudes are going to play. KD will have a good season no matter what, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to have him go ahead of some of these other guys that I have on my list on second and first team. Do I think he's worse than the guys I have in second and first team? Of course not, but success matters.
I'm going to have to veto that probably at some point.
I worry about KD's health. I don't know. He might not play enough games.
Yeah. That's right. Brad, do you have anyone else?
I actually had KD on my third team as well. But
let's go, Brad. What about that, Bernie? You going to veto both of us?
Yeah, I might have to veto both of you.
I worry about his health, but
he's got filibustered, buddy. I
got Anthony Davis on third team too.
AD?
He's my center on third team.
Ooh, AD. I had him in the forward spot.
I mean, he's basically.
Yeah, he is, but I put him as center. It kind of came down to him or Rudy Gobert, and I think AD's gonna have a better season than Rudy. So
that's fair. I put Rudy on third team actually, so that's my center.
My fourth or second forward. Excuse me. Wow, I just said every number except what I was looking for. I have Kawhi as my other forward on third team.
I agree with Kawhi there. I was gonna actually pick him. I didn't see him on my list before I picked Jimmy Butler, but he was also on my list as well.
And the weird thing is, I actually think I don't think him and Paul George will both make it. So I went back and forth of like, do I put Paul George in the spot or do I just think Kawhi he's going to play enough games, but it's close. Like even Kawhi is healthy, but you still have to wonder, is he going to play 50 games, 55 games? Because he's going to sit out a lot of those games too. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plus their team is so loaded. Their 12th player is like the fourth best player on the Lakers. So I'm sorry. Look at that Clippers team. They are stacked to the gills. They're nuts. But yeah, Kawhi, I don't think he can get much higher than third team. First year back after a couple years out, and with just how many other options shooting they have.
Yeah. Well, I think that covers it for third team, unless you guys have another player that should be in there.
I want to give
remove Devin Booker from third team.
We can definitely remove Devin Booker. We can definitely remove him.
All right. Goodbye.
My honorable mention would be Brandon Ingram. I think with how many games the Pelicans will win, and him and Zion being that like 1A, 1B tandem, I think he should garner some votes.
I like that.
Definitely agree with that.
Love that Dylan Brooks is in that little that tier list picture right there. I just keep looking at his face out of all those guys.
Well, this is the top 75 players in the league. So
top 75.
Hey, if you're 75,
Marvin
you're
Bagley
75.
Next to each other.
Well, actually, it'd be 74 and 75. Dylan Brooks, Marvin Bagley. All right, let's go all NBA second team. I think this one might have a little bit more debate to it, just because I think obviously if one guy doesn't make the first team, they're obviously on the second team. Who belongs on the second team? Go ahead, Brad.
Ice Trey, give him that. Hawks are going to win a bunch of games.
Have him there too.
He's already up. I love it. I had to put him above Ja. There's no way. Like, Bernie, I know you saw my poll on Instagram. Ja won that poll by a bunch, but Trae Young is a better player, and he's going to prove it with a better Hawks team this year.
You think, hold on, Brad. You think undeniably Trae Young is a better player than Ja Morant?
Absolutely. Just because, hear me out. Okay, on defense, Trae is the worst defender in the league, but Ja is not much better. You know, we saw Pat Beverly cook him absolutely every time in the playoffs. Yeah. But Trae can score, like, if you break it down, scoring. Ja can score, Trae can score. But the way they do it is different. Jaws is easier to game plan for in the playoffs. Like we saw the Timberwolves give him a hard time. But teams like the Warriors were able to. I guess he was kind of cooking them until he got hurt. But Trae can shoot is my main point. Trae can shoot and he spreads the defense, so it gives opportunity to the rest of his teammates. And I know you got to account for Ja's speed, but I just think he's easier to game plan for. you got to be able to shoot in 2022.
Yeah, I guess they're not as far off as I like. When I think of them just on the surface of like first reactions, I always think Ja's better, but they're really not that far off. Plus, like, Trey's passing is definitely better than Ja's, and his just playmaking in general is definitely
exactly
a little bit better, at least a little bit better. Yeah, that's close. And I'll tell you right now, they're both my guards for second team. I had them both there, so it's fitting that we have them next to each other, or that you think he's better.
Hey.
All right. I guess I can go next. I'm gonna put your boy Pete on all NBA second team.
RJ Barrett?
My goodness.
I wish that was the case for you, but no. I'm gonna put fucking
Jalen Brunson?
I'm gonna put Jokic. Jokic on the all NBA second team.
I got him too. Nice.
I think Bernie. I'm just like he's leaving him off. Bernie hates Jokic.
No, I love Jokic. You know, I'm a European guy. You know, I love my Europeans. But I think I have to put Jokic on the second team because obviously the first guy maybe depends on some health stuff. But I think for me, Jokic, I think they're going to take a little bit, like I said in my preseason rankings, I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back. I want to see how both Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray play together and like how they can kind of coexist again, because I think it's going to take those guys some time to get back into it, especially Murray with the amount of games that he missed and basically missing the whole entire year. And then of course, Michael Porter Jr. with the back issues, it continues to be a problem for them. And so I think that it's going to be a tough task on Jokic to carry the team once again. And I just think that he's going to be able to do as much as he can, but I still think it's going to be a lot to carry for a guy that, again, consistently never gets hurt, but his teammates do, and it just leaves him in a bad situation. And so I think he's going to have the stats to get him the All-NBA second team, but I think it's the record that's going to stop him from being an All-NBA first team.
See, I have Jokic on second team as well, but it's not for the same reason. I would not be surprised if Denver is like a shocking 1 or 2 seed in the West for some people. Like they're better than people think they are. You know, they won. What was their final record last season? I think they won 50 games, didn't they? Or 49 games. And that was literally Jokic doing that on his own. He has Michael Porter Jr., he has Jamal Murray back. I like their offseason a lot in Denver. The only problem, and this is the reason I'm just going to spoil, I have Joel Embiid in first team as center. I think that the 76ers, the more I look at it, they're the 1 seed in the East to me. I've officially come around. I think 76ers will be the number 1 seed in the East, and I think Joel Embiid is going to be at least first team All-NBA, maybe MVP. I'll save that take for later, though. Talk about MVP in a little bit. So I agree with you, Bernie, but not as strongly because the Denver Nuggets won't be necessarily as good as the 76ers, just because the 76ers, if there's any team in the league that has a chance to win 60 games this season, I think it's the 76ers.
All right. Who else is getting on this? Who else is getting on the second team for you guys?
Second team. I also have LeBron on second team.
Wow.
I put LeBron as one of my forwards.
Wow.
I also have Coach James on second team.
Sounds like you guys are a bunch of haters right now. The haters.
Nah, there's just no way he's going to be able to have the stats and the record that the guys above him have, or at his position. There's just no shot. There's no shot. Their team is just not good enough. He's gonna have insane stats, still qualify for NBA second team, which when you're 38, 39 is still insanely good. Like that's mind blowing. You're still one of the 10 best players in the league by all metrics, but he even second team. I honestly debated putting him on third team just because I worry about the Lakers so much. But yeah, I second team is comfortable for LeBron. I think that's where he lands.
Dang. All right, Brad, who else you got on this LNBA second team?
Give me the big Diesel Jr., Zion.
Zion. Where are you at, Zion?
He's my other forward too, Brad.
Let's go. Yeah, the Pelicans are going to win a bunch of games, and he's going to, if he stays healthy, God willing, knock on wood, he's going to be breaking more of Shaq's records, and that's going to put him on second team pretty easily.
I genuinely had him very close to being on first team. I was very close, but I thought it was a little too presumptive of me to do that, but I would not be shocked if Zion's All-NBA first team by the end of the season.
I agree, absolutely. I was just concerned about the health. I think he might miss a couple games here and there. Yeah.
And you do have to wonder too. I think something that's pretty important for him is like, is he going to be the guy that takes the last shot for that team? I actually don't think he is. I think that
Gotta
would
be
probably.
Ingram.
I think it's either
Yeah.
Ingram or even CJ might take shots at the end of
Yeah.
games. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's tough as far as being like, first team All NBA. You have to be your team's go-to guy every night, no matter
Although
what.
Giannis and Middleton.
True, but yeah, I mean, Giannis is a little different though. Giannis is more like the guaranteed version of what I think Zion can do this season.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Even then, I still think Zion has a good shot to be first team, even if he's not taking his team's final shots. It's just more, I think that will work against him a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will agree with you guys for LeBron. I was gonna try to do my LeBron homer pick, but I think second team is probably more realistic for him. Just with the fact that this team, already looking a little shaky. I know it's the preseason, and so a lot of people are, there's the Laker fans that are crying and yelling that, hey, we need to get rid of Westbrook, and they're absolutely like in panic mode right now, like it's World War III over there in southern LA. And then you also have the Laker fans that are just like, the season will be fine, everything will be okay. Just get those two guys healthy with AD and LeBron, and I think you'll be fine. And so again, the Laker fans, it's always one pessimistic, one optimistic, and it just continues that never-ending yin and yang with the Laker fans. And so, yeah, I mean, I think LeBron deserves to be on that team. And then I think I had KD on the second team. I just think that KD is going to have the stats to do just enough for the NBA second team. Now, is he going to be a guy that's going to be with the record that they need for it? Probably not, because I think that my concern is, of course, like you said, Brad, health for not only KD, but also Kyrie as well. If KD and Kyrie are both injured all the time, this team will definitely falter and will definitely fall below expectations, which I think that at this point, the expectations are pretty low from us, at least, because we both all three of us kind of said that they were a play-in team. And so that's kind of where I'm at with KD on the second team. The stats will be there, but I don't think the record will be.
Yeah.
Agreed. Although I do want to say I think they've looked better than what I thought they would be in preseason.
Wait until
Steve Nash
wait until they have to play half court. Wait till they have to play half court. That to me, that's going to be the biggest test for the Brooklyn Nets, playing in the half court setting, because in the playoffs, you're going to have to play in the half court. In the regular season, the game that Skip Bayless loves to bring up whenever I, try to not tune in, but whenever I'm just like, okay, let's see what they have to say. Let's see if they say anything good this time. It continues to be the same talking point. The 40-point game in Utah for Ben Simmons. It's done. That's a half court that's a whole full court transition thing. I need to see the Brooklyn Nets in a half court. What are they going to be able to do on offense and defense? Because they've shown time and time again that they can't do it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in such a weird spot, man. The thing with KD, and this is the reason I had to put him in third team, is really not only because we don't know what they're going to be, but also like if any one of those top three dudes on that team misses any amount of time, they're not that far off the Lakers. I know their depth is a little bit better than it was last season, especially after they made the trade for Harden, or not for Harden, but for Simmons. But I don't know, man. I really don't like their team. I still have Ben Simmons. Who's Ben Simmons? Has he changed anybody's mind in any way from the preseason as far as what he is as a guy? Like, if you thought he was trash 3 years ago, he's not that different. He's the same guy. So that energy, people. That's all I'll say. I defended Ben then. I don't think they're very good now. I don't like him.
He's still the same player from 3 years ago, and that's okay.
100%.
But in a different setting, at least. Like, I don't know. The setting might help him, but
it makes more sense. It makes more sense with this team, but it's still not what they need necessarily.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. And does anybody else have any other second team people, or should we move on to the All NBA first team?
I want to give a sneaky one for second team, actually. If all things go right and they're able to mesh, give me Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell. Okay.
They're going to win a bunch of games. I think he'll average a career high in assists, passing to Mobley and Jarrett Allen, so that'll help his numbers. He usually plays a bunch of games, so
yeah,
should have the stats.
have him there as well as one of my guys. I kind of had, I don't know why I did this, but I didn't even put him in
Mike
third team
Conley.
as a consideration. Oh, Donovan Mitchell. I didn't even have him as
Oh,
a consideration for third team, but I had him as like my alternate to Trey in second team,
there
or
you
Trey or Ja. But I agree with you. I honestly think the only reason I didn't put him there is just because we have the track record with Trey and Ja on their respective teams. But
Hmm.
in the most realistic, most likely situation, I think Cleveland is the best team out of those three, personally. And I mean, there's a chance that they're a top
Mhm.
three, top four seed this season. So I'm definitely high on Mitchell getting one of these spots. I think he'll have an insane season. And we were texting about the other night. I mean, Mitchell is actually playing defense in Cleveland so far. I know it's preseason, but I saw him play more defense in 2 preseason games than I saw in Utah all last season. So
And pass to his big men more.
exactly. If I see that from Donovan Mitchell, if that is what he's doing and he's still like 27 or 28 a game, I mean, man, he's legit got a chance for first team if that's the
Yeah.
case, but definitely possible for second team.
Let's see here. I think I had from one of my other second team guys, I had Luka Doncic.
Luca on second team. Whoa.
He's
That's your
guaranteed first team for
first
me.
team. Yeah,
Mm,
every year, man.
not with this
Give me
team. Not with this team that I have cooking up.
I see what you mean. That team
he's
is
first
bad,
team.
but like
Even more
all the
reason.
hype and the stats, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the All NBA team. And if I'm keeping it real, I think that we get blinded by the stats. We get blinded by like the amazing plays, but like we really need to. I'm not saying we need to be like analytical nerds about it, but we need to like have a balance between okay, like this guy is clearly when you see it live, like yeah, this is clearly an All NBA second guy or first guy, and then when the stats are there, like well, he's actually more of like an All NBA second guy. I just feel like if they were able to like do the balance of both, I think it'd be so much better. But that's just me.
I agree with you 99% of the time, but Luca is out of all these guys the perfect example of if he can take that team to the playoffs, even like a 6 seed, a 5, 6 seed for Dallas with the people around him and the stats we know he's going to put up, that to me is guaranteed
First
first
team.
team. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's first team. Like, I agree with you in theory, Bernie, because like I'm much more of the opinion that team success, success, not team sex, team
Oh.
success should matter. That should matter a lot. That should matter a lot for these awards, but
Mhm.
that's going into it. Like team success with that Mavericks team is like that's like a little bonus point for him.
Yeah. All right. Should we
He
go
gets the
first team?
benefit of not having a position either. Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right. Brad, lead us off.
First team, I'm gonna start with Steph Curry, the Golden Boy.
Wardell.
Yes, sir.
I
They're
have
gonna
him
win
as
a bunch
well.
of games. He's their engine.
Yep. If I can find him, I'll put him there. Where is he on this list? There's so many players on this list. I wish they would just get rid of some of these guys.
Yeah, there's dudes on that list, Bernie, that are like, why did anybody waste their time collecting some of these?
God dang it! So if you find
What are we
Steph Curry, let me
doing
know.
here?
Let me know if you find him in this. Like, oh, there he is. There's Waldo. All right, Curry. Boom. I can go next. Just really quick. I think Tatum's gonna make an All NBA first team.
I have him on my first team too.
I like how you went with the Celtics pick.
Yeah, just for the bias. Someone has to be a homer on
Hey,
this. Someone with a good team has to be a homer.
true.
Someone with a good team, someone without a good team without a coach.
Oh,
Hey.
oh my goodness.
don't be sleeping on Missoula, man. I think he's gonna do a great thing up there in Boston with that team. I think that they're gonna really respond well to that guy. But I just think Tatum's gonna come back with a vengeance. I think that the injury from last finals, and I'm not saying that's the excuse as to why the Celtics lost. I think there's a bunch of different things that you could say about the Celtics from that game. But I think he's gonna want revenge in terms of okay, I need to show that I am that guy. And I think you were starting to see it a little bit. But then as soon as he got hurt, the bad habits came back for Tatum. And I think that's the reason why they kind of felt faltered, especially in that game 3, which they should have won. But I think, or actually, which game was it? Was it game 2 or game 3? I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been game 3.
Game because they won game 2. They went up 2-0.
It's 3.
Yeah, it was 3. They definitely should have won it. They should have been up 3-0 and created a pressure situation. But I think this is going to be a Tatum respond year, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you guys have said my first 3. I have I have Steph, Luka, and Jason Tatum as my 3 first team All-NBA players so far.
Okay. Me too. Yeah.
4th is Giannis, obviously. I mean, Giannis and Luka, if there's anybody or any 2 players that should just be penciled in for the next 5 years, it's the 2 of them. Just pencil them in.
Where's my boy?
Only thing that would keep either of those guys off first team is injuries. That's it.
Where is Giannis on? Oh, there he is. Jesus.
Oh, and I should say next 5 years, not counting this year, just pencil Victor Wembanyama in there too.
Hey, let's go.
4 years after this year.
Just got to give him a little bit of time, and I think he'll be there. Not a lot of time, but I think give him like 2 years and he'll be there.
All defense every year too.
Yeah, all defense for sure. Like, that's his calling.
I wish there was odds for. I would bet odds right now. Defensive Player of the Year his rookie season. Give me those odds. 10,000 to 1. I'd put money on it too.
For real.
Yeah. Average like 5 blocks a game. He's a freak.
I tentatively want to.
Bernie's going to put Robert Williams.
No, it's Joel Embiid, but my concern for Joel Embiid has always been the injuries for him. He's a phenomenal talent. I think he's one of the best centers in the league when healthy, but that's the biggest, what do you call those? Qualifiers. There you go. The qualifier for me is healthy, because I think every year there seems to be an injury with Joel Embiid, which continues to derail the 76ers seasons. If not, the coaching from Doc Rivers also continues to derail them as well. But I just think for me, like, I love Joel Embiid. I think he's a great guy. I think you need his personality, his leadership out there on the court. But the issue for me, like putting him on the first team sometimes, and the reason why I tentatively want to put him there right now is just the injuries. Because I think if he continues to get hurt, he continues to I think we need to have a discussion about Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, he's been healthy enough for me to think that this is a given this season. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. The thing for him is just like, are we talking like that final month of the season? Because that's like when he really starts to break down these last few seasons. You know, you get into these playoff series and you can see this dude is very tired from the regular season. But I think that's the beauty of the 76ers team. They're the Clippers of the East. They are absolutely loaded with players who could play on other teams. And he doesn't need to do everything. Like, we're going to talk about other guys for other awards coming up as far as their squad is concerned. He doesn't need to do everything, but he's going to have an insanely good season, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he played 68 games last year. So if he can, stick around something like that again this year, I think he's a surefire shot for first team.
Yeah, I mean, I have 65 as like my cutoff for like being on an All-NBA first team for me personally. So I think if he continues to hit that mark, I think it'll be fine. Because I mean, again, I'm all about getting your rest when you need it. Obviously, I'd like them to let the people know when their rest days are, so fans don't get screwed like that. But I do think that Joel Embiid, first NBA team, I think it's going to be penciled in. It's the playoffs that I'm a little bit worried about. And so I don't, again, that may be the reason why, like, my mind is like, okay, I keep picking Joel Embiid in the first team, but the injuries continue to be a factor for him in the playoffs. And so maybe that's what I need to change my mindset to, is like, okay, it's just playoffs that Joel Embiid just can never stay healthy for, and not just the regular season.
I mean, for the last few years, that's it for him. He just loses all steam ahead once it gets to those final few weeks of wherever they're at. And if there was anything I would change about All-NBA, dude, I wish they would include playoffs into All-NBA. I know
like
that
playoff team would be nice.
Yeah, that, or just like the All-NBA first team should be only players who make it in the playoffs. Like, I like that a lot, because I don't really understand like having dudes who get knocked out in the first round and don't show up at all. Like, that was always our thing with Rudy Gobert, Bernie, making All-NBA, or not even just Rudy, but there was one person we would always get on his case about getting towards All-NBA, and it wasn't him either. It's just people who, I just hate when dudes get bumped in the first round and then we're supposed to say, yeah, first team All-NBA. But we haven't
Devin
watched.
Booker.
We've watched other players make it far. Yeah, Ismail in the chat. Ismail, however you say your name. Wait, I know we're not leaving any Suns players out, or leaving all the Suns players out.
The
I think
Suns are
they're
cooked, brother. They're cooked.
I do think we should probably put Devin Booker's face at least in potential All NBA third team. Is that too? Not that it matters, but it's rude.
That's just pleasing. That's just people.
I mean, the dude was first team last season, Bernie.
Last year. Yeah.
Oh, I'm the biggest Devin Booker hater out of all of us, but
he's gonna score, and I don't know. I might be a bigger Devin Booker hater. I don't know.
Are you, Brad?
I think Jaylen Brown's
that
better.
guy.
Like I know Jaylen Brown is better actually, and he can't even dribble.
Honestly, Brad, I know Jaylen Brown is better too, and he can't dribble. You're not wrong. He is better than Devin Booker. There are so many people who would hate that take, but honestly, I challenge you guys. If you think Devin Booker is better than Jaylen Brown,
Ismail's going nuts in the chat right now. What he said.
Ismail Booker can't play defense, my guy. He can't. He was the worst guard defender in the league last year.
Honestly, if we're doing this right now, Brad, Devin Booker, let's see you be on a good team without Chris Paul, without veteran leadership telling you what to do and leading you to the promised land, Devin Booker. We have never seen Devin Booker be the leader of a good team.
Can't do it.
Never seen
Can't do it.
All
he brings to the table is scoring. That's crazy. You put $10 on him winning MVP, bro. Go get your money back.
I don't think anybody can win MVP if they get upset with mascots when they're taking free throws. I just don't think it's possible. Shouldn't be able to see the Raptor in your peripheral vision if you're a true MVP talent.
Can I give you a guy that I think will make NBA first team that you guys put him a little bit lower on the list?
Let's hear it, Bernie.
Let's hear it, yeah.
I got Trae Young making the first team this year.
Nice Trae. Whoa.
Over Luka?
Yep. I think over Luka.
Oh.
Because I think Trae Young, and this is the long battle between Luka and Trae Young, the infamous draft between those two guys. I think the thing for me when it comes to Trae Young is I think that their team will have a better record than Luka's team. And I understand that team success is never included in the All-NBA teams, but I think you have to consider Trae Young at some point. If their team is better, if their team is the 4th or 3rd seed in the East, I understand you could, if you want to put those like, oh, well, 3rd team in the East is, does not weigh as much as like, 5th in the West. But I think that Ice Trae, if he gets their team to 4th seed, I think that you are going to see Trae Young hopefully making the NBA first team, because I think that that's kind of where I'm at with Trae right now. And I need Luka, and again, it's not his fault. I know that he has Dinwiddie now, he has Christian Wood, but I still think they're one player short from making it, from winning big things.
Here's my only counter to this, Bernie. I don't think there's any way Trae beats Luka in terms of getting first team All NBA, but that's you're totally free to have that opinion. Here's the problem though. I think if the Hawks are that good, if they're that team and they somehow get a top 4 seed, it will be less because Trae is that great and more because their team is good and because DeJounte Murray is impacting their team winning more. So I think like realistically, if they're that good, more likely than Trae being first team, it would be Trae and DeJounte making All NBA 2nd, 3rd team, like splitting votes between each other. I think that's more likely, but you're welcome to have that opinion. You have Luka 2nd team though on your list?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's real tough. Yeah. I think Trae stats, like Pete said, would probably take a step back because of DeJounte, DeAndre Hunter coming through. Yeah, that's tough. First team, that's tough.
Oh, I think PD's calling
Smith said this guy's either Utah
or Mavs.
Utah or Mavs fan. Well, funny thing is I hate both of those teams, so
except for the Mavs. I thought you loved the Mavs because of Luka.
Oh, I love Luka. I hate the Mavs. Are you kidding me? I love Luka. I don't like Jason Kidd as a coach. I don't like any of their players on their team except for Luka. I just think Luka is, he's that guy. He is insanely good. And realistically, too, Luka's in better shape than he's ever been in this season. Like coming into this season, he's going to be in better shape than he's ever been.
We all know Luka Doncic is the best Doncic, though.
Luka Doncic. Oh my gosh.
Um, but obviously we have our first, third, and second team, and obviously these are just guys that we put in here. I don't think we really made our formal list, but let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of this list? Let us know if we got it right, we got it wrong, and let's kind of move on to the next part of this discussion. And like I said, let's move on to the next part of this discussion. The next discussion is, I think, the awards. I don't know if you guys have your awards already set up.
Got a couple.
Ready for it?
Oh yeah.
Let's start off with defensive player of the year. I think defensive player of the year is it's going to be an interesting year, just because I think there's a lot of guys that are definitely viable for that position, or that viable for that spot. And Brad, who do you have for a guy that could make the second team? Or sorry, not second team. Excuse me, the defensive player of the year.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm about to steal Pete's pick, but I got Evan Mobley. Give me Evan Mobley. The Cavs' defense is going to be nice just because of him and Jarrett Allen leading the charge on that end. He can guard all 5 positions effectively. He's going to put up, Victor Wembanyama type stat lines with 5 blocks, maybe 4 steals, something like that. I got Evan Mobley. He was close last year, to be honest. He was close.
Pete,
give me my guy Mobley. I mean, it's done. Mobley's the guy. Mobley. No, honestly, Mobley is right up there for me. This one's really tough, though. This one's really tough because I honestly have a few guys. I wrote down 3 names of possible people I was torn between. I think people are going to think I'm crazy because Mobley is one. I can't believe how bad the odds are for Marcus Smart to repeat as Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's insane. He was such a good defensive player last season, completely justified winning the award. If that team is as good as people are projecting them to be, if they're a first seed, second seed, and well on their way to another championship appearance or finals appearance, it'll be partially because Marcus Smart is still the defensive center of that team. Like, he's that good as a defender. I had Drew Holiday as a very distant potential person. I still think he's got one in him, but this is a weird one, guys, but I like Herb Jones as like a sneaky odds guy for Defensive Player of the Year. I kind of love Herb Jones. I'm a little maybe too high on Herb Jones. I don't really think he's going to win this award, but if there's a guy that comes out of nowhere to win it, it could be him, because the Pelicans are going to be better than everybody thinks they are. And if they're a good defensive team, he'll be their best defensive player, is Herb Jones. So I like him as a sneaky one, but yeah, I like Mobley as probably my number one pick for that.
Yeah, I'll probably go. I think I'm just gonna go. I'll probably go Mobley.
Mikal Bridges too. I forgot Mikal Bridges. He's probably actually, like, I think if I had to put my most likely person to win it, he's right there, because I think he is one of those guys that people should have given more votes to last season. Yeah, he should have got more votes last season. I couldn't believe how far away he was from getting it. I would have considered him. If any Suns player wins anything this season, it'll be him. He's the only guy on that team close to winning something.
I mean, how funny would it have looked though if they gave him Defensive Player of the Year and then Luka did what he did to them? Like, that's
but that's the tough thing, is that would have happened to just about anybody though. I mean, that wasn't Mikal Bridges' fault that Luka did that. Their whole team, I would put that more on Booker and Ayton than all those guys.
True, but if you have the Defensive Player of the Year, they should, step up and take that challenge. Like, I don't think Luka is going to cook Evan Mobley like that.
Yeah, but Mobley wouldn't be guarding Luka like that either, though. He probably would.
But he'd be a rim protector at least. Ayton.
Well, they have Jarrett Allen for that.
Ayton clearly shown that he's not a rim protector. And I think
True.
That's fair. So, but I agree with you guys. I think Mobley probably it. I have Giannis as kind of my second guy, and then my third guy. This is just a consolation prize, but I'm gonna put Anthony Davis as kind of like my third guy on that list.
I love that pick, Bernie. I love it. That's the best thing you've said this whole stream. He actually could do it.
I think a healthy AD is a different player. And that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping to see from Anthony Davis this year. Like, if he can really stay healthy and really be that guy that I think a lot of us think he can be, I think the sky's the limit for that guy. I mean, not even just like the MVP discussion, but like Defensive Player of the Year, even higher on the All NBA teams. Again, it all comes down to me for the Lakers season rides on Anthony Davis and how he's preparing himself for the season. And if he's preparing himself like a lot of us hope he is, whether that's shooting the ball, playing defense, getting leaner, and really working on his body to be in tip top physical condition, then I think sky's the limit for them. And I think Anthony Davis definitely deserves at least an award. And I don't think he's going to win the MVP, but I think he will at least get the Defensive Player of the Year if he's healthy.
Well, I think of all players that would have the narrative behind him too. I mean, all these awards at the end of the day are narrative awards. So that's basically what it boils down to. And he's the guy that could potentially have the strongest narrative going into this award. Because if the Lakers are even remotely a strong defensive team, which that's a long shot, but if they are, it'll be because of him. Like if he can go back to the guy he was, and he was top 5 defender pretty much every year when he was really healthy. He's definitely got that in him.
I hope
like
so.
It, Bernie.
My Lakers will be.
All right, let's move on to
no Robert Williams, Bernie, for Defensive Player of the Year. You don't think he's got one in him either?
Too hurt. I think if he stayed healthy, I mean, he's already going to miss the regular season already. That's a concern for me.
Good point.
I think he would definitely be in consideration for the award, but because he gets hurt all the time, it's hard to put him up there. Personally.
Yeah, that was the same thing I wrote for Jaren Jackson. I think Jaren Jackson is going to come back sooner than people think he is, but I still think he's hurt too often. He's such a good defender, though. If he was healthy coming into the season, he would probably have been my number 1 pick coming in.
All right, let's move on to the next award. Let's go for the MIP. I feel like the MIP, the Most Improved Player. This is an award, again, that a lot of people are contentious about, especially after last season when a NBA superstar won it. But who would you guys have as like your most improved player coming into this year? Like who, if you had to place a bet, who would that bet be on?
Most improved is tough just because some players can like literally come out of nowhere and win it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to, take a safe pick, I'd go with Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah. He's going to get more opportunity. Pacers are building around him. He's going to get more opportunity. Cam Johnson, he might not even start, bro.
Hey, honestly, Cam Johnson is sneaky good, though.
He is sneaky good. I just think
start for their team.
He should, but I just think on that Suns team, like his role is really just shoot. And so, like, I don't know how you win MIP off that. But, like, yeah, Tyrese, he's going to have the ball in his hands more. He's got a good backcourt partner with Benedict, who I think they're a good fit with each other. They can bounce off. I think it's, either his or Tyrese Maxey's for the taking.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I would have said a different Tyrese as my first pick. I think Tyrese Maxey is my most likely person to win this award. I think he's going to have like a huge jump in points per game. I think he was 17.5 last season. I could easily see him in like 24, 25 points per game this season. I think that's a big enough jump. If you're first seed in the East, second seed in the East, and he jumps up 7-8 points per game, it's pretty hard not to give it to him. Anthony Edwards is obviously he's the leading candidate for most people. He's got the top odds to win that award. I don't know. I would probably go Tyrese Maxey. I don't think Halliburton. I don't think the Pacers will be good enough for him to get consideration.
True, but I feel like they don't look at record for MIP because wasn't Devontae Graham up there a couple years ago for it, and his team was terrible.
The Hornets,
He came out of nowhere and had a big stats increase.
Yeah. You know who I like for this award, actually? This is the person I'll pick. I like Cade for this award. I think Cade is going to have a really big jump in a lot of his statistical categories this season. And not only that, I think the Pistons are going to take a huge leap in terms of their wins in general. Mm-hmm. So even more so, it's still not a winning record, but one of the things, too, is that Cade was so good last season, getting that close to Rookie of the Year after missing pretty significant amount of time, too. Yeah. He's the kind of guy that is going to be an award consideration for a long time, and this is kind of like one of those, let's get him started now and get him some votes because he is going to be good. He's going to be really good this season. Cade is a freak, so I love Cade.
Yeah. I have to agree with you, Brad. I think that if I was to go safe pick, I'd probably go Halliburton. just because I think, like you said, I think the stats will be there for him. I think he's going to be the leader of that team. And so by being the leader of that team, you're obviously going to get those stats and the recognition. But one player I think that could win it potentially, just kind of like out of left field, especially because of the fact that this team is missing one of their rookies this year. I think he's going to take a huge step up. I got Josh Giddey.
Yeah,
I think Josh Giddey
like
could
that one
definitely
too.
be definitely someone that could be considered for this award. I think as someone that, again, is the team going to be success going to be amazing? No, but I think that he's going to take such an improved step in his game. I think shooting is his only concern, in my opinion, in terms of his mechanics. I think could take some time to just kind of like, especially for a guy that's not is going to be more of like a set shooter or catch and shoot guy rather than like someone that gets someone off the dribble and shoot. Especially for 3-pointers, that is. I still think that that Josh Giddey could definitely improve his stats. I think he could definitely be a triple double machine if he wanted to. And I think that's the reason why I think that he could potentially win the award is because he's going to average close to a triple double in his I believe this is his second year, right? So
Second season. I like that pick a lot, Bernie. I like his odds a lot too. Do you guys want my ultimate homer pick for this entire stream? I had this one saved just for you guys. Of like,
Let's hear it.
I love it. I love this one. It's
ahead.
Bernie. I would never put my money on this. I don't think it's gonna happen.
would.
But no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But I like the odds because it's like plus 12,000 that he could win this award. I like Quentin Grimes, guys. I like Quentin Grimes a lot as somebody who's like coming from literally getting hardly any minutes last season. He's going to be the Knicks starter for at least 50 of the games this season. I guarantee you. If not starting, he'll be the sixth man. And he's going to go from like 7 points a game to probably like 15 or 16 on this team. Just be a player that people know his name, which I think we're talking people coming out of nowhere. I think
that's a good pick. Yeah,
he's one of them. He's one of them because he's going to be really. If the Knicks take a step forward and like kind of go closer to the team they were 2 years ago, and play like the best defensive team in the league like 2 years ago, it'll be in large part because he steps into that role and becomes one of our better defenders. So just throwing him out there, long shot. Homer pick, but I like him because there's a lot of Knicks in consideration for this. I've seen RJ as like, I think he's third in the odds. Jalen Brunson's like fifth or sixth. I like those, but it's not, the odds aren't good enough. They should still be distant. Like no Knicks player is going to win this award this season. So if I had to take any of them, I'd take that really long shot. Shut the stream down with that one. I like it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for, baby.
Let's move on to the next award. Let's see here. Let's go Rookie of the Year. I think this one is probably unanimous. I mean, I don't necessarily think all of us are going to disagree with this one.
It's absolutely Paulo Banchero.
Jabari Smith.
Banchero. That's
No, who'd you say?
Jabari Smith.
No, it's going to be Paulo, I think.
It's Paulo.
I will be honest with you guys. I did debate putting Keegan Murray in the spot because
Keegan Murray could be
Keegan Murray is going to be an absolute bucket for a team that's going to take a step forward this year. Like I don't like the Kings very much as a lot of people are high on them coming into the season, but Keegan Murray he's going to score and he's going to score super efficiently for that team. So I like him a lot, but would never bet him over Paolo. Paolo's different. I think he's 20-10 rookie season.
20-10 and has the clout. I think it's going to be hard to.
I would even go so far as to say like 20-10-5. Like he might be right there. He's a pretty good playmaker too.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why. Like, as much as I would love Keegan Murray to kind of be the Rookie of the Year in terms of, finally the Kings have drafted someone where it's not a head scratcher or you're punching the walls if you're a Kings fan. But I just think Paulo's just going to be too good. Again, whether the record is there or not for the Orlando Magic doesn't really matter. I think, like Brad said, I think it's more about stats with this award at least, and the most improved. And so, with that being said, I definitely can see Paulo winning that award just single handedly, just even putting up like 20 and 8, and with like
dominant
4 assists. Like I think it's going to be over at that point.
No,
Or
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Brad.
Pete. Okay, I was gonna say, who would you guys think, like, if not Paulo, is second in that running for Rookie of the Year?
I think Keegan Murray.
Egan, I think
He like clearly. Hmm.
for Rookie of the Year, I think a sneaky guy that if we're going based on statistics, he's going to score points. I promise you, is Benedict Mathurin.
Ooh, I was
He's
gonna say him
going
I
as
to
was
be
well.
gonna say, I
I was
was
gonna say
gonna
him as
say
well.
him too. Yeah.
he's going to be very sneaky in terms of like offensively, he's going to be super fun to watch. So people are going to like him. They're going to want to vote for him. He's going to have a ton of highlight reel plays.
Ooh.
He's going to probably score on that team. He's going to be like their second option pretty soon into the season behind Tyrese. So he's right there.
Oh, all right. We got a super chat in the building. Ishmael, thank you for the super chat. He says MVP Devin Armani Booker, 30 plus points, 5 and 5. Appreciate that, Ishmael. Appreciate that super chat. Definitely goes a long way. And again, if you guys are interested in donating to the channel, there is super chats and also a donation link to the channel as well. But thank you, Ishmael, for that. Devin
Yeah, really
Booker,
appreciate it.
Shout out Ishmael.
35 and 5.
Is his middle name really Armani? That's crazy. I did not know that.
30 points, 5 rebounds a game, and 5 moved mascots in the season.
That's the stat.
Yeah.
5 disses towards Luca.
There you go.
5 Luca specials.
5 breakdowns in the final 2 minutes of a big game. All right, sorry, Ismail. We're not making fun of you. Thank you for the chat. We're just kidding.
No, we appreciate you for real.
We're not Devin Booker people, but he is much better than we give him credit for, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, bit too soon. Yeah, from the MVP conversation. Let's see here. Let's move on then. Let's move on to the next award. Let's go 6th man of the year. I think this one might be a little difficult as well because I think there's definitely a lot of players that are capable of being those 6th man of the year type of guys. Brad, who you got as your 6th man of the year? Is it Lou Will?
I might have alluded to this. Ooh, 6th man like I'm Lou Will. Is he in the league? I think he's out, huh?
I don't think he's on the team right now. I'll look that up while you tell.
Okay, yeah. I might have alluded to this earlier in an earlier stream, but give me Christian Wood. I really like
Okay.
as a coach, and I think he's going to use him in the correct ways. And even more, he's motivated. Money is the best motivator, and so if he wants that bag, he's going to have to come off the bench, play his role. He's too talented. Just looking at him, he's too talented and too skilled to not have a good season, especially playing next to someone like Luka who can maximize his talents. So give me Christian Wood.
All right. Pete?
I like the idea of Christian Wood getting this award. I just don't think he's going to be their 6th man long enough for him to qualify for this award. He is by far their second best player. Like, I don't even really truly understand what the logic is of having him come off the bench. Their team isn't good enough to have him on the bench. So I think that's pretty tough. I think it's Brogdon. Like, Brogdon to me is in the perfect spot to be 6th man of the year. He's going to be so much so that there's probably going to be moments, depending on how things go with this team, where people wonder if he should just be the starting point guard, but they're not going to do that with Marcus Smart and the way that the season went for them last year. So I like Malcolm Brogdon a lot for this award, but I had him as a 1A, 1B situation. This one is a little sneaky, but I think Bones Highland has a good shot to get this award.
Is a good one.
He has a very good shot to get this award, and I honestly had him not that far away from my most improved player as well, just because I think the opportunities for him running the second team for Denver is going to be very strong. He's going to score a lot of points, and he is and we talked about it earlier when we were talking about League Pass. People don't really get to watch Denver. People are going to really like Bones Highland a lot once they actually get to start watching him play. He's fun. He's a cool dude. He's got a good story. It's all narrative, and he's going to have good stats on a good team. So I like him as a sneaky one.
Yeah, I actually had him as my 6th man. I think I had Brogdon as my second. Just because I didn't want to be too homer of a pick there, but I think like you said, I think Bones is definitely going to be a guy. Again, I may be a little bit down on the Denver Nuggets, but he was a guy last year that you saw made an immediate impact.
Yeah.
When those two guys went down with Porter and Jamal Murray. And so I think if he continues to kind of build and lead up to kind of the regular season and continue the same success that he had last season towards the end of it, there's no reason why he can't be a sixth man of the year and like really, really play some contributing minutes, especially if those guys are healthy. I think the Denver Nuggets, if they're back to where they are those 2 years ago, whenever they were like, I think they won the first in the West. Then I think that you have something special there. But yeah, I do like the idea of Bones Highland being the sixth man of the year.
I got one really, really sneaky one too. He has crazy odds for how good he is on how good of a team he's on too. Nope. I love the idea of DeAnthony Melton as the sixth man for the Sixers.
Ooh, I love DeAnthony Melton.
I think he's so good, and he was so buried on the depth chart for most of his career in Memphis. He is the perfect type of player for the 76ers. And if they end up being like one seed, really just dominant regular season team, it'll be because their depth is so good. And I think he is going to be like so good on their second team. And just the defense he's going to bring them, his shooting, he's a perfect fit. I like him as a sneaky pick for this.
That's a really good sneaky pick. I would put money on that if we could bet in Washington.
It has plus 4,900 odds, which is, I think that's wild for the sixth man on the 76ers to get that high of odds is just mind-boggling to me. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. Let's move on to maybe an award that maybe we didn't think about too much, but I'm not sure if you guys have anything for this one, but Executive of the Year. I think that there's a couple names that I could go with. If you guys don't have any, I can go first if you want.
I have one.
You go first, but I have a couple.
The one guy I just want to shout out is probably my Executive of the Year is probably going to be Kobe Altman. I think Kobe Altman as the Cleveland guy, bringing in Donovan Mitchell, the fact that he's kind of built this team right now to where it's at, and as high as we think that this team could go, I definitely can see Cleveland and Kobe Altman winning that award.
Who won last season?
I have no idea. I can take a look.
Let's see.
A realistic pick, which I can't really believe I'm saying this a year after I thought this dude was like the worst exec in the league. I genuinely think David Griffin has like a pretty good shot to win this with the Pelicans. Like if they jump into like the third, fourth seed, or even in the fifth, somewhere in there. Like I think David Griffin, the way he turned that Pelicans roster around, got Zion back into the team happy-ish, seemingly. He should definitely be in consideration. I like David Griffin a lot for this. My sneaky, like if we're just talking about the long run exec of the year, Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge. If he tanks to Wembanyama in Utah and they end up with Wembanyama, give him the exec of the year. Give it to him. Traded everybody, got a ton of assets back, reset that team at the perfect year to do it. Danny Ainge. But I really think David Griffin is the guy to win this one. James Jones, I mean, James Jones is tough.
He was fourth on the list for Executive of the Year.
If Phoenix is better than we think they are, maybe. But I just think we're all in consensus that they're going to take a step back. And if he didn't win last season on like a historically good regular season, it'd be pretty hard pressed to give it to him the year after. What about you, Brad?
Yeah, and he didn't make too many moves. Give me Daryl Morey. I think the trade for DeAnthony Melton, signing PJ Tucker was great. And I think he's going to do something with Tobias Harris midseason. At least I'm hoping. He really needs to. And if he can pull off getting off of Tobias Harris, he should win that award. If he can turn Tobias Harris into an impact player that they can trust in the playoffs, just give it to him.
Yeah, he's. I think he should be probably tied leading candidate with David Griffin and Kobe Altman right now. The three of them, it's their award to lose. The three of them.
Yeah. And let's just kind of quickly talk about Coach of the Year. I have two guys that I want to mention, and it's really tough because I think both of these guys. I think it depends on where they finish in the regular season. That's who I think wins the award. I got JB Bickerstaff and Willie Green. I think those two guys are going to be battling it out for it. And depending on which team finishes higher, I think that's who's going to win the award. But I have Willie Green currently right now as my number one, and then JB Bickerstaff is my number two. Because I think that Bickerstaff definitely did an amazing job with that Cleveland team, and if it wasn't for the injuries, I think he would have won the award last year, but because of what happened to the injuries, I think he lost it. But I'm excited to see if Willie Green can continue the momentum that they had from last season, and bring it over to this season like we think they will. Then I think it's his award to lose.
I have the exact opposite. I have the flip. I have JB Bickerstaff winning in Willie Green second. I flip-flopped them back and forth. I really truly think Cleveland is top 3 seed in the East. Like, to me, I know you guys think I'm nuts. I'm overdoing it with Cleveland. I think their squad is just insanely built for regular season games. Like, they are going to defensively mutilate teams. Like, I don't know if people are prepared for how hard it is to score against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. But then the fact that they're just, I'm basketball in love with Cleveland. I think they're going to be so good this season.
I'm with you guys. I had Willie Green as my top pick, 1, and then I had JB Bickerstaff 2. I chose Willie, same reasons for you, Bernie. I love like what he got out of his players last year. He's a tough defensive-minded coach, and he got them to like play together, something Stan Van Gundy couldn't do at all. And he's smart. He's willing to take risks. He put in Jose Alvarado and benched Devontae Graham, which was a great move. Made their team much better. So yeah, he's giving minutes to Trey Murphy. I'm interested to see how he, handles Dyson Daniels. I love Willie Green, and I think it's his award to lose as well.
Yeah.
My sneaky pick would be Mike Malone if the Nuggets win a bunch of games, though.
I like Mike Malone a lot too. My narrative pick, I think this guy has the best narrative going into the season as far as what people think of him as a coach. Brad and I were talking about this earlier too. I think Nick Nurse is the best coach in the NBA personally, but not far behind him, narratively, is Ty Lue. Ty Lue, if the Clippers come in and they're genuine title contenders, top 3, top 4 seed in the West, it probably is going to go to him just as like hey, you really held this team together to get to this point. I think that's one of those long-term, let's pay our respects to Ty Lue. And y'all did talk a lot of nonsense about Ty Lue a few seasons ago, and I think he has proved a lot of people wrong. He is one of the better coaches in the NBA, undoubtedly at this point. Are we doing all rookie teams? I think we should do you want to do just first team? Let's just do first team. Do it quick. It's pretty easy. It's Paolo, obviously, right? Yeah. I think we can all agree Keegan is going to make it. Yeah. I would say Benedict Mathurin is in there for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The question is then who would be your other guard? Do you want is it Jaden Ivey? I think everybody's first instinct would be Jaden Ivey. I honestly think Dyson Daniels gets first team rookie. I think Dyson Daniels is going to be like the starting point guard for New Orleans by mid-season.
Wow, that's a good call. I didn't even think of that. I had Tari Eason in there. I think he's a sneaky one.
Yeah, that one's interesting. I put Jabari Smith as my last guy because I think defensively he's like actually a freak on defense.
True.
He's like sneaky defensive team award if the Houston Rockets could take a leap, but they're not good enough to take a leap. So I would just give it to him for rookie team, first team.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go centers for this award. So I got. I think it's just out of center position. I'd probably just go Walker Kessler. I think he's going to have a pretty decent season. Now, is he going to be superstar all NBA guy? No, but I think for rookie, I think he's
going to get an opportunity.
And then let me give you a sneaky guy for another guard. I'm going to go Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I like that too. I just think they're so bad that he is nice though. I think we're all on top of this one. He has looked so good in preseason. The minutes I've seen him play, he is nice. Let me ask you a question. I meant to ask you this when we were doing Rookie of the Year. If Chet wasn't injured, he was healthy, how different would you feel about Rookie of the Year, Bernie? Because I personally, I still would actually have my rankings the exact same if Chet was healthy. Would yours have changed?
I think it would have been a lot closer.
I think he would have made first team all rookie. However, I don't think I would have put him over like Keegan Murray or Benedict Mathurin for Rookie of the Year personally.
Wow. That's just the Chet hater coming out of you.
It's not. It has nothing to do with that. It's just statistically.
Just say you don't like him. It's okay.
No,
Follow better.
I won't do that. It's not the point. It's a statistic award. He's not, even if Chet was fully healthy, Bernie, do you think he's a 15 a game scorer first year?
I think so. And to 15, that's easy.
don't
That
know.
in this inflation, in this economy, in
In
this
this
basketball,
oh my
in
god.
this basketball economy where stats are inflated, yeah.
And I guess by that logic, that's like a 9 point per game season a few years ago. So maybe we're agreeing more than we think we are.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have scored that many points enough to be in consideration. I think it's not even saying he's bad, Bernie. You take it as a slight to this guy. It's not that. It's just statistically, I wouldn't see it.
I don't know. I think he's gonna make a huge impact for their team when he comes back.
I mean, you might be right. Him and Giddey had insane chemistry together too in summer league. So you might be right. I was more just interested in how much it would have changed.
I'm gonna change my center.
Chat, even though he's injured.
No, I'm gonna go Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren.
I thought that's what you were gonna say, Bernie.
Yeah, I forgot about him until I remembered. It's got to be him. Like, I wanted to just pick Walker Kessler because I'm like, okay, Utah, they don't have anybody, so you might as well just have him and see what he can do. But yeah, I think it's
like Marjan Beauchamp for this one too.
Marjan
like
is
a
also
sneaky,
another one too.
Sneaky first team. You know, guys, Brad, I know we were talking about this in particular. Did you see that last Thunder game where Ousmane Deng played?
Yes, yeah, I saw that. He blew past Jaden.
Why did he look so nice?
He looked good. Yeah, I saw him blow past Jaden Ivey for like a nice left-hand finish. I was like, whoa, like, okay, you can do that? Like, I thought you were one of the worst players in the league.
I mean, that was one of those things where that's the moment where I'm like, oh my God, I was so excited when the Knicks drafted him and then instantly moved him. And then I was bummed that we didn't have him. And then I convinced myself, oh, this dude is not ready. It'll take a few years. And then I watched him play in these preseason games. And it's like, I didn't even think this dude would be on their roster, let alone efficient and just, he looks like a freak out there too, compared to these guys.
Yeah.
That's why you took him. He's one of those weird just prospects in terms of like, what could he be? He looked really good. If he keeps getting minutes, people are going to be.
I feel like that's why were they the ones that cut Derek Favors, right? I feel like that's why they waived him.
He traded Derek Favors, didn't they?
They traded, yeah. They
it was like a weird, like a bunch of players moved, like 7 players moved back and forth between teams. But yeah, he did. Yeah. He did get moved.
All right, let's move on to the final award. This is the one, the MVP of the NBA, and I think I know where Brad's going with his.
Easy money. Come on now.
Pete, I'm not sure about you. I think you could go in definitely different directions.
Brad, who's yours?
Joel the Dream Jr. Embiid.
Joel Troel.
Joel, I love that name. Yeah, he's gonna, Sixers can win up to 60+ games, which would put him. It's honestly his to lose. Like all he has to do is stay healthy, be as dominant as he was last year, and they're gonna win games, and that award will fall in his lap.
What about you? I'm
I'm
feeling it's not Luka for you. I feel pretty strongly that that's not who you're gonna pick.
not picking Luka. You're right.
I didn't think so.
I don't think he's gonna have the team. I don't think the team success is gonna be there for Luka.
So this is where I totally agree with you on this one, Bernie. Like he is the favorite by a lot. I feel like for pretty much everybody I see is putting him as the guaranteed MVP. This is where the team success should really matter. Like unless they sneak into the top 5 seeds in the West, he should get some consideration if that is what happens, because he'll be the reason they're there. But their team is just not going to be good enough for him to be realistically the MVP. I just don't think that's okay, personally.
The problem with the MVP award for me is that I feel like it's become a retroactive award.
Yeah, like the season before, 2 seasons before. Yeah.
And it's because
that's why Joel is narratively the guy.
That's why, exactly. Yeah, he has that backing him too.
And so if I had to do that, then I think it is going to be Joel Embiid just because of the narrative and the past. I think it's definitely going to make a huge impact in that award, and why I think that eventually that award will be his. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go Homer here. I'm going to go with Jason Tatum winning the award.
He could. I mean, another narrative one, right? Like where if they are the 1 seed without Ime, the season goes exactly the way it should, even without him. It'll be because Jason Tatum is the MVP. So I like that a lot. I mean, it's one of those things where that's all that needs to happen for him to be in top 3 voting, I would say. Gun to my head, Embiid is the guy.
Yeah.
Second, very close. I think Steph Curry is like right there for this season. Like this is his
Wardell.
I think he's got MVP energy around him this year, and it's kind of like a season, 2 seasons late. Like, people have I feel like the perception of Steph as a guy, even though he hasn't changed in this last 6 months, but I feel like the general consensus of average fans about Steph has started to really change, where now he is like actually like a consensus top 10, top 12 player of all time. So if he comes out and has just an insanely efficient season, another 50, 40, 90, he could be right there taking it. If I had to make a gamble and I'm trying to win some big bucks here, I love the odds for Zion as MVP. I love the odds for Zion. I like them a lot. And it goes with all we're saying. Like if they're that good, Willie Green is the coach of the year. Pelicans win a ton of games. A big part of that will be Zion going back to the Zion of 2 years ago.
Could Brandon Ingram be in that conversation?
I don't think
Even most
so.
Improved?
Most improved, maybe. Sure. I think I'll be straight up with you guys. I have never been as big of a Brandon Ingram person as everybody else, and it's one of the ones where I just acknowledge I'm wrong. Like I know I'm wrong. I know he's better than I give him credit for. I just can't help what I have in my head of Brandon Ingram has just been there for years at this point. Because I do still think like I question if he's your best player, are you even close to being a championship contender? I just don't think you are, realistically. That's maybe not fair, but that's the case. The thing is, Zion, with the players they have on their roster now, the spacing, better coaching, if he was putting up 27, 8-8 2 seasons ago, I just want to see what he does this year. I mean, he is legitimately possible like a 30-point a game scorer this year. If he's still playing like point Zion, has the ball in his hands a lot, they're going to be better and he's going to be really good. So he's a sneaky guy that could be right there.
That's definitely a good dark horse.
Yeah. Ishmael, let me read your comments before we continue. I'll tell you why CP3 taking a step back in terms of scoring, meaning Booker is just going to do crazy numbers, and that's why he has Devin Booker winning the MVP.
He's another one where like the long shot narrative of Devin Booker is there. Like it's better odds as far as if you're going to put money on Devin Booker winning. I like the logic. I personally don't think he has that in him. I like the logic. It's there. It's sound. I don't think so.
And he also says, I can't wait to come back in a couple months. Well, hopefully either way, I hope you still check into the channel. I hope you don't just come back when it's convenient. So I do hope that you do come back to the channel where we talk about all the teams. So I'm hoping that you're just joking about that one. But yeah, I mean, again, my problem with Booker has always been, and I think you guys kind of hit the nail on the head a couple segments ago or a couple minutes ago when we talked about Devin Booker and the all NBA teams that we talk about. What team does he fit on? Like, and what else does he do for the team besides score? Because if he's not scoring, then he's not really being an effective player for you. And so, again, I don't think he's going to necessarily, and even when he was on a bad team, when it was just him without Chris Paul, he was putting up numbers, but it wasn't leading to anything. And I think for Devin Booker, I think it matters more that your stats lead to wins or lead to a first team All NBA or lead to a first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, because it is there. I mean, if CP does take a step back, I mean, his scoring should, by that logic, go up a good fair bit. So I like it. It's interesting. One person back to Coach of the Year really quick. We didn't talk about Darvin Ham. If somehow the Lakers end up being okay, Darvin Ham is certainly going to get a lot of consideration. I mean, that is definitely going to happen if they're better than people think they are.
I think it depends on if AD can stay healthy. I think everything for the Lakers, and I'm sure Brad as a LeBron fan, kind of what's it called? Airbnb-ing at the Lakers facility right now.
Yes, sir.
I think that it all hinges on AD. Like AD is going to be the reason why the Lakers are, a top 4 team in the playoffs, and also the reason why they're going to be so successful for this next season is all AD. Like, we know what LeBron's going to do. Actually, you know what? The one thing I wanted to add, I think LeBron potentially could be an MVP candidate, because I think the storyline,
I was just about to say that.
The storyline is there for him to break the all-time scoring leader of the NBA. It's there. Yeah. It's there for LeBron. And if he does that, I could see the league just saying, hey, we're just giving you the MVP award.
Honestly, if a Laker wins the MVP, it's going to be AD. And his odds are crazy high for how not unrealistic it is that he could win it too. I mean, I know like we keep saying it. This is like my award version of like the timeline with these young teams, but the narrative is so important with these awards. And realistically, like the Lakers, LeBron certainly always has a chance because he's LeBron, but AD, the reason it should be probably him that has better odds than LeBron is because his defense is going to be better if he's good enough to be in MVP consideration. It'll be because of both sides of the ball, being a defensive force and scoring. Probably he should be able to score more than LeBron. I promise you that, but we'll see if that happens. I don't think it's going to happen.
I would hope it happens because they need him to be their leading. The year they won a championship, he was their leading scorer. But I mean, it was mainly because LeBron was, playmaking for him. He was point guard.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I like that pick, Bernie. I would take LeBron too, just because I like the narrative of him breaking Kareem's record, and then also if the Lakers can flip Russ and actually get some serviceable players, that team is not that bad. Like watching them in preseason, they have some pieces. So. If Ham's coaching is good, I mean, they're bad, but if Ham's coaching is good and, some pieces, like some actual NBA players, Miles Turner, Buddy, Gordon Hayward or Terry Rozier, Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson. I would like that team. I think they could turn it around, end up being, a top 5, top 4 seed. And even for, having those players, they still wouldn't be as loaded as some of the other teams. So I could see the narrative for Bron winning MVP.
If the Lakers are a top 4 or 5 seed, LeBron and AD should share the MVP. They should both get it. I mean, they have no business getting that high of a seed with their team. So if they're there, it's because LeBron and AD went absolutely insane this season. Last one, I promise, of long shots. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really like Anthony Edwards at like 7,000 odds for this award. Like if they get close to 1, 2, 3 seeds, it'll be because of him. Take a huge leap. I honestly think he has a better chance of winning MVP than he does Most Improved, which sounds stupid. I don't think he should win Most Improved. He was great last season. Why would you give him Most Improved? If anything, it should be he took a step to the top 15 players in the league. Give him MVP votes.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the awards? Who's going to win them? Who's going to lose them? And who do you guys have for your award list? Let us know in the comment section down below and in the live chat if this video is going to be a premiere video. We'd love to know what you guys think about the award shows and who's going to win those awards in the comment section down below. And please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. All right, boys. Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
If Russell Westbrook embraces the 6th man role, maybe he should be MVP. No, maybe he should be MVP. Just for being willing to not be on the court. Most valuable player. Thank you for being reasonable, Russ. We appreciate it.
Oh my gosh.
Continue, Bernie. Sorry, I just had to toss in a joke. I couldn't help myself.
I do need off my team, like desperately.
Let's I think we're just gonna end it there unless you guys have anything else to add to or any topics that you want to discuss before we sign out of here.
I don't think I have anything else.
I have one more dark horse for defensive player, and it would be Ben Simmons.
Other
than that,
I mean, honestly, his odds, like it's another one. It's like his team performs well. He is legitimately like. We do
He's
all
their
defensive
best defender.
teams?
So
did we do that?
We did not.
Do what?
All defense teams, like he should be in consideration for first team defense or second team defense most years he plays fully healthy. So you're not that far off. If he is actually back to the way he was, he should be a sleeper for that award.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's it. I
I
think.
guess the other thing we could talk about. I mean, by the time we do our next stream, regular season basketball will have started. So everybody, Bernie, are we doing anything? Or it can't be Tuesday. I know that's opening night, but that's my birthday. Sorry, I'm gonna be busy. So do you want to do something on like Wednesday night?
Hey,
I know I'm getting the best gift this year. I'm getting NBA
that's
basketball for my
awesome
birthday.
for real.
aw.
Happy early birthday, Pete. Since I
I
won't,
appreciate
What days
that,
do you
Brad.
have available?
of course.
I know this is
Could
all
do most
streaming.
nights. Could do most nights this week if we wanted to like just get in and live watch a game and talk about it.
Let me check. There's
You
one.
let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you
Wednesday,
know.
Thursday, Friday, something.
It definitely have to be Thursday because I leave Friday. Thursday maybe after I do my basketball training.
Okay.
Maybe that'll be when we do it.
Well, keep an eye on the channel for announcements, guys. If we do end up doing like an impromptu watch along, we'll make an announcement and do it. But
Yeah,
if not, next weekend,
week for
regular
sure.
time, doing our thing.
For sure. All right, boys. Well, that's going to do it here for the channel. Thank you again, Pete. Thank you again, Brad, for tuning in and helping us out here and talking the awards, man. It's been fun. We had some agreements, we had some disagreements, but that's part of sports, man.
Always a pleasure, my guy.
Always a pleasure as well. I appreciate you guys, and thank you, Ishmael, for hanging out in the chat. I know I'm calling you
Seriously.
I'm calling you the name of the character from Moby Dick. I don't know if that's how you say your name. I'm sorry if it's not. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being here. And the only other thing I will say is if you guys do like the idea of us doing like watch alongs, hanging out, doing live streams, I'm all in for that this season. And even if Bernie is busy, I could always do a couple. Brad, we could do some if you wanted to.
Definitely.
But you just let us know in the chat, guys, if that's something you'd be interested in hanging out and doing.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section down below, and also let us know everywhere else. So anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Pete. We'll catch you guys on the next episode of The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors, and also basketball opinions, emphasizing the basketball opinions today because everything today we said was our opinion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong, and who you guys think will win the awards, and who you guys think will be the All-NBA teams, and what do you guys make of the Draymond Green saga in Golden State. Anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining, and like I'll keep saying, share this with your friends who are basketball fans. This is a channel that continuously talks about basketball, wants to enjoy it, and wants to kind of hear your opinions about it. So let us know in the comment section down below.